these Pokimane cookies. I don't know. Jason wants to buy a batch.
Pokimane? Pokimane
Yeah.
cookies?
Pokimane made these cookies, and Jason's been begging me to buy a box. And I'm like, bro, it's so expensive. We don't have any fucking money, dude.
Highly priced, outrageously.
Yeah.
And there's no reason.
Yeah, but he keeps wanting to buy them. I'm like, Jason, no, we can't afford these. And he's like, dude, look, I'm gonna take my whole paycheck. I'm gonna buy 10 boxes. And I'm like, I didn't know you were such a fan. I mean, he said that he wasn't a fan of Pokemon anymore, but he's like so hell bent on getting his hands on these cookies. I don't know. Basically, apparently the Pokemon cookies.
Yeah, they were $9.
Were sold over there, yeah, for cheap as fuck. And so she jacked them up to like, what was it, $40 or something like that?
I think it's like 4 packs for 82
Plus
bucks.
shipping.
Something.
That's psychotic.
Yeah.
Plus shipping? They ain't even giving you free shipping on this shit? Nah, there's no way, dude. They're scamming. Okay, well, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean,
yeah.
The price is ridiculous and people shouldn't buy them, but like
Sure.
I saw a lot of people being like, this shouldn't be allowed, and it's like I'm pretty sure that's what every influencer like. I guarantee
it's allowed, yeah.
If you look at the company that sells Prime, before they sold Prime, they definitely sold energy drinks for cheap.
No, they do. That was their
just failed as
model.
an energy company.
No, I'm pretty sure that was their business model. Was they went
were...
around and they tried to like help people make different like brands, and they went and they just offered Logan Paul and them to do it, and then they came up with Prime. Now I think they probably just do Prime because it's like their cash cow. Yeah. They've hit their peak, but yeah, it's smart to do.
Buying a company and jacking up the prices is just like that's
Martin Shkreli.
Makes sense.
Jack up the fucking diabetes medication. Let's go. HIV meds. Jack them up.
Prime tastes like it has sugar in it.
Prime has the weirdest aftertaste though when you let it sit out for more than 12 hours.
Yeah.
I have found that. It has the weirdest fucking aftertaste. I don't know how to describe it, but it's gross. So if I don't drink my Prime right away, I have to toss it. That's what I found. This is all side notes. Besides that, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tripodcast. I'm your host, CrazyRocky, here with JasonNova as well as Peter. And today we're going to be talking about a multitude of things. Peter, did you watch Loki?
Yep.
Perfect. So we got Loki to discuss. We watched the Marvels on our end, so we can discuss the Marvels. We also have some news, such as apparently Pedro Pascal is in talks to play Mr. Fantastic, a.k.a. Reed Richards, in the upcoming Fantastic Four film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Just a few other things. So,
Madam
Web trailer dropped. That's right. That's one of the things we want to talk about, too. So, and
I
also...
think Garfield, I guess.
Oh, Garfield. Fuck it. Yeah, well, that'll be great. And real quick, thank you guys for all the love recently. The Exorcist Believer one did well, but apparently that Boogie video, guys, you guys are loving it. We're, doing at like 50 some odd views, which is good for this channel. So thank you guys for all the support recently. Besides that, let's just dive the fuck right in. I think Loki and the Marvels are going to be probably two of the main topics of this one, and then the other things will be kind of side notes. So I think we should just dive straight into Loki and then the Marvels. Or actually, you know what? Let's do the Marvels first. Let's get the one that's maybe a little less intriguing out of the way. Guys, we'll put chapters in this one. If you guys want to skip ahead to Loki and you don't care about the Marvels, you could do that. But okay, the Marvels.
Like side topic. Do you know what activates auto chapters? Because some of my videos get auto chapters, but like
no, I don't. I have auto chapters
it would
turned
be
on
so
for all my
helpful
things.
if
I
they
didn't
just
know it was
wow.
like
Yeah, they do.
automatic.
I don't think I told you about it. I told Peter way back in the day when I first got the notification for it. But yeah, like there's this thing in the description when you upload now that says like AI experimental chapters, like automatic chapters.
Yeah.
It's never worked for me though. I don't think I've had a single one do it. Like
I had like on my old channel, like a bunch of my videos got chapters and like got captions automatically as well.
I do get
and
captions.
Then I realized like
yeah,
transcriptions are a thing, and I actually like some videos I've gone to, I've literally opened the transcription and scroll through it looking for like the bit of the video that I want to see.
Oh yeah,
and I like click on that bit of text, which is like some of the new features are pretty good actually.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, I love the captions these days because they are so fucking clean now for the most part. They are done very well. And so pretty much every video that we do, I try to get captions turned on. For some reason, sometimes captions just refuse to turn on. One thing also I found recently, I mean, sorry for the YouTube talk, guys. You guys can skip ahead if, like I said, chapters below. But one of the things that I found recently that's weird is we're getting close to like the full monetization of 4,000 watch hours. I have an XL DSLR cord coming through soon. Thank God. Sorry guys, we'll just bear this for a little longer. But so basically, we're at like 3870 or 3880 right now, and so basically all of a sudden in the past 2 days, even though we're not monetized, we've started getting messages saying like, "Hey, this video is not eligible for monetization." And so I never got those specific ones before, and it's starting to change the layout generally of it. So I mean, it's pretty fucking dope. I'm definitely down to start. Like, I'm probably gonna make some videos on the CrazyRocky channel about like some vidIQ style stuff on how to do certain tags and shit like that. I've always loved the YouTube process. It's really fucking interesting, and also seeing how like the dashboard opens up is really fucking dope as you get like goals and stuff. Go ahead.
I think the best new feature is like when you say like and subscribe now, the actual buttons
It
down
makes
there
the little
actually light up.
animation. That's fucking dude.
Yeah, how
when
cool is that, guys?
Yeah, I think you sent me the thing article that talks about our email when it first happened.
Yeah.
And I remember I was on my phone and I got the update and I was watching a pyrocynical video and it literally he said like and it just like it lit up and I was like, oh my god. We're in the fucking future. Because I remember everybody back in the day. Do you guys remember? I mean, I don't know if Jason, but do you remember when people would say in the comment section, "Oh, guys, look, they added an animation to the like button, or they added a new sound whenever you click the like button." Yeah, to get people to click it. And so, like, but they actually did it now. They actually added an animation to the like button. They listened to the people for once. YouTube, holy shit.
Yeah, I mean, they've been. I mean, they even listens to the people on Sniper Wolf. That's even crazy.
They've been listening. Honestly, they've also like rolled out. Yeah, I know it's okay, but I mean, listen, they couldn't have done more. She's still demonetized now. I'm surprised about that. I would have thought that she would have been remonetized. So, what was that?
Only on her main channel though.
Well, no, she was supposed to be demonetized on the secondary channel as well. People were checking into it. Yes, she was. She got demonetized the day after.
Quickly, like as soon as YouTube
found out the second day that it was up, and they demonetized her on the second day, and apparently she's been demonetized ever since. Yeah, no, that's so they have done way better. Like, and they weren't gonna ban her outright, and so it's been like it's been longer than I expected. I would have thought they would have demonetized her. No, no, dude, they didn't even really demonetize him. They just took him out of the preferred creator program.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? Like, and obviously that changes it a lot. You go from making like $10 per 1,000 views to making like $2 to $3 like the rest of the peasants on fucking YouTube. But it's like,
I think when he came back and did the rat thing, he got fully demonetized.
I think after that he did, yes, because he kept going. Like the rat thing caused even more controversy because everybody had like an eye on him there for a while. But I think he only got fully demonetized for like 30 days, if I remember correctly. I think that was about it. So like that, and yeah, Sniper Wolf, they've done more than I thought. On top of that, they rolled out like now you can appeal or also take classes for the community guideline strikes, and then have them fully removed from the channel. So instead, before you'd get a warning and whatnot, now you get the warning, and instead, like, you get a warning depending on what type of violation it is. If it's a violation you've had before, you just get a strike. But otherwise, you can go in there, you can take the class, and it'll actually remove it after like 90 days or something like that. Where before it was just like you always had a permanent warning.
You get DUI.
Yeah, basically. Before you had a permanent warning, now they let you expunge it from your record.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Yeah. So
I
like fuck with that.
A thing where you can dispute or appeal instantly now.
Yeah.
Which I just used and got fucked on.
Oh,
I got that weird false flag, and I was like, well, I'm just going to appeal this. It says like it will get resolved within 24 hours. I was like, oh, that's great. But then if you fail the appeal, they just strike you. So
no, you know, so they
somebody's just like, yeah, screw you.
No, they have the it's either the fucking appeal or the dispute. The appeal, if you make an appeal, it goes to YouTube. YouTube decides if it's fair use or not. If YouTube says that it's not fair use, then you just get fucked. If you do the dispute, though, that would just go directly to them. I've never appealed because it's just not worth it. Because you will probably get striked most of the time, just because, like, even for example, like with a lot of the content we do now, I don't even show the trailer on Smokin Sessions. I just like strip the audio completely, so I like edit, I chop it up, I move it around. It's not even like a straight shot of the trailer, so it's definitely not a way to engage with the trailer. But even if I did that, and it's totally fair use to utilize that as background footage and completely change it and critique it and add my commentary. But YouTube still, just because I'm showing the footage of somebody else, they don't really take the nuance of fair use into things. It's very annoying. They only do for big YouTubers. That's if you're a small YouTuber, get fucked. If you're a big YouTuber, they'll actually probably have like a lawyer look at it and try to tell YouTube to be a little more cautious. Because I've seen
a big YouTuber has a lawyer.
a lot more.
So,
Yeah, exactly. And they have a lot more power. Like Ethan, for example, he's talked about how the appeals are perfect for him because he'll put in an appeal and like immediately it'll get removed 99% of the time. And so it's like, yeah, if you're a big YouTuber, obviously they take it more seriously. So I mean, in the future, that'll probably be a thing that we'll be able to use. But for now, we're the peasants like everybody else, and we'll just have to dispute.
That's fine.
It's okay. We'll be YouTube royalty one day. It is what it is. So yeah, we can now we can go ahead and move over into the Marvels, I suppose. So what was your kind of can't fully remember your thoughts. What was your general thoughts on the Marvels again, Peter?
Generally, I think it's all right.
Okay.
It's the most. I'm trying to think because I haven't. I think it's probably the most enjoyable of the. Well, it's the most enjoyable of the modern MCU films that I've seen. But that bar is like.
Well, what ones have you seen again?
Yeah, exactly. It's like Black Widow.
Yeah.
Like it's there's a lot of shit. I'm trying to think. There's no. The only one that I think would top it that I haven't seen is Black Panther.
Thor: Love and Thunder. That's a dog shit film. That's one of the worst ones.
Yeah.
Did you watch Thor: Love and Thunder?
I have not seen Thor: Love and Thunder.
Okay, yeah, good. Okay. Don't watch it. Don't watch it.
Yeah.
But in that case, though,
I thought it was fun.
Okay, so in that case, it kind of makes sense. I despise the singing planet thing. I kind of agree with you to a degree. I think that the main thing for me was the ending felt extremely rushed and abrupt. Like they didn't know what to do with it. And so at the end, they were like, fuck it, we just need to end this somehow. And then there's like, I mean, I can't remember the very specifics of it, but like the fact that the woman puts on both bracelets and just explodes.
The whole film was like super rushed. I feel like they must have tested it and gotten the classic like, people don't like these chicks, so it felt like they edited down the entire film because it was like just action set piece to action set piece.
So a little backstory, apparently this was the first film in a long time, or maybe even ever, that Disney and Marvel put out for a test screening for public audiences. They actually brought in regular people. Usually they just do executives and then people that are like within the industry, so to other directors, producers, things like that. So generally, obviously, like you can have The Flash, which is going to test really high with people in the industry because they want to suck off James Gunn and DC. But when it comes to like the public audience, obviously they're going to be a little more critical. So basically, I think that was a mistake for this one though, because it's a follow-up of or Captain Marvel, one of the most hated MCU films off top. So you're going to have people that are already going to be biased towards the film. So I think what they should have done, and this is again my main critique of Marvel period, and Disney period, is that they don't really know what they're doing with a project. They have a vague idea, or somebody low on the totem pole has a vague idea that somehow makes it into a project, and then the executives from the top do reshoots and refining till it's totally fucking chopped and fucked. And it's almost like how they do Star Wars, where it's like they'll do the first film and they have no idea what they're going to do with the second or third film. But it is a trilogy, guys. We know it's a trilogy, but we're not going to plan. We're also going to toss it to a different director with a different vision. So fuck it. It's like none of these things make any sense. And the fact that something like She-Hulk, for example, like we talked about before, made it to like apparently being a fully completed show where she didn't become She-Hulk into the last episode, and then they had to retroactively CGI her and reshoot it to make her She-Hulk starting in episode 1. Like that's completely fucking psychotic.
Who said oh yeah, let's have She-Hulk do yoga with the Hulk to start this
and
off,
Meg the Stallion at the end?
No, dude, it's
I just don't get it.
People have been talking about like people on Twitter were like, Captain America's reshooting because they mentioned Israel. That was like a big thing. And I saw industry insiders were saying no, like
Yeah, it sounds like
Marvel
bullshit.
usually has 2 to 3 months of reshoots scheduled for every project.
No,
Yeah.
that's
Which
Well, and they
so
sadly makes
what I
psychotic.
sense.
heard from the Captain America one, it was test scores that did extremely poorly.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
then they basically said, okay, once again, we screwed up somewhere. So we
Yeah,
gotta
and they
reshoot
basically
everything
tangled
now.
up the entire story. Is the idea, I guess, is like basically they ended up chopping it so much after the terrible like things that they had no idea where to take the film,
Anthony Mackie's
and that's
not
why it comes to
likable. I
this
think
really
that's
super
it's
weird.
no matter how many times you have an audience view the movie, it's probably
Sure.
not gonna, because people are gonna want the Captain America type of character, and Anthony Mackie doesn't come across as that type of character.
No, he's never going to. Yeah, and and again, like if you don't have a solid idea and you don't already like the fact that the execs are coming in and making these changes to a completed script, it's always going to make a project that feels so fucking weird. And again, one of the main thing people was saying is that Kevin Feige is apparently known for taking things and then having it be like the wings are cut off the airplane, but he foams the fucking airway and somehow makes the plane land. And you know what? Maybe that can work for the first couple phases, but you can't roll with this idea of, oh, I'm just going to reshoot and chop scripts and fuck with shit and tinker with it until I feel like it might be ready to release. Like, it just doesn't make any fucking sense.
I think they've only been doing that this series of phases. I think my theory is Last Jedi fucked it. I think after that they've decided like we're gonna do test screenings and make sure shit's good. Because like the old films like Ragnarok and stuff, there's no way in my mind like that's so Taika. Whereas you look at like the new stuff, it's like it's all so butchered. Like the executives come into every single MCU film in Phase 5, and they're like,
yeah,
"Nah, we got to change stuff."
I don't know. I think like because like with Love and Thunder, that felt like Taika just took it and ran with it. I think
no,
Shang-Chi
that
was
actually,
decent.
well, I think Taika was limited too. I mean,
Wasn't
Disney,
he the writer and the director on that one?
Yeah, but Disney does not allow these writers or
But it didn't
directors
feel
to
chopped up.
have really any of their own creative
Sure.
vision.
The reason that I say this specifically with Love and Thunder is because the comedy was extremely Taika, and the
Yeah.
comedy was extremely present,
Like
front to back.
Ragnarok.
Yes, but it was like Ragnarok on steroids and methamphetamine, and then doing injections of heroin. Like if you take all of that and throw it together, that's what the film felt like. But it didn't feel. A lot of these other films feel incomplete. They feel like they've been fucked with afterwards, and they aren't really. There wasn't a semblance of an idea. I didn't get that with like the Eternals, for example. Felt like it was a full project. It just sucked.
Yeah.
Same thing with Love and Thunder. It felt like a full project from front to back. Like you felt like he got to do what he wanted to do. It was just dog shit. I mean, in my opinion, that's.
I think that might just be the experience. Like Taika's done so many films, his vision may come through still, but like
Yeah.
a lot of these new films are like first time directors, so it's like
Sure. Yeah,
there's
that's
not
true
much
too.
vision, and then the execs fucking
Yeah.
run over everything.
And that's the thing too, is they're so hell bent on hiring no names when they've done this in the past since the first beginning, where they'll hire people like fucking Tom Hiddleston wasn't really anybody
Well,
before
they're
this and
easier to
whatnot.
control if you're a no
And
name.
exactly, and they're cheap. They only
Yeah.
cost a little bit. I think Daisy Ridley got paid $100,000 for the first Star Wars. You don't have to pay people nearly as much money to go spend a year of their life shooting, or 2 years of their life sometimes shooting a fucking film, because they're like, oh my god, I'm in a Star Wars project, or I'm in a Disney project, I'm in a Marvel project. This is gonna blow me up, and they're doing that now. They didn't really fully do that with directors before. They brought in Russo brothers and people that had like experience in history, even though I think Russo brothers have their issues. I think a lot of the directors have their issues, but now they're bringing in people that have like no fucking feature films previously. Like I saw somebody that had like a couple short films and a goddamn music video, and I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here?
I mean, it worked for Loki.
I don't know the history of the people that did Loki. I know in season 2 the directors had a history of doing like horror stuff, like horror features. So I know that they did have a history. I don't know about the girl who did the first. I'd have to look into it. I don't know what her history was. But generally speaking, it's not that it can't work. It's that it can work, but it often doesn't. The reason being is because you need to have somebody who has some semblance of how to do a big picture like this when you're handing somebody such a large budget.
Well,
It's
then
very
again,
different.
These big name actors, and it's like if you've never directed an actual feature film,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, well, here
Yes.
is Christian Bale. You're like,
So you're like, what am I
"Excuse
supposed to
me?"
do here? And on top of that, it's very different to make a film that costs $100,000 or $1 million or even $10 million than $100 million. You know what I mean? When you're throwing around money like that, you have to have teams on deck. You have to have plans laid out. You have to have your funds fucking allocated. You have to have your fucking accountants on deck. There's so much that is from top to bottom necessary. And as a director, you're not necessary for your accountants and shit like that, right? But you do need to get on deck all of these teams when it comes to costuming and all this other shit, and you'll have help. But when you haven't done like a big big film before or have that history, it's just setting a lot of people up for failure 100%. And it can work, and it does bring up new names. And like, you know, we wouldn't have had people like Tom Hiddleston, for example, if they didn't bring in no names. There's an article in like some newspaper talking about back in the day how they were kind of like unknown and only had a couple films before, and I'm like, oh, okay, we'll see how it is. And yeah, like or like fucking Henry Cavill with Superman, right? Wasn't he basically not really known at the time when he came into
No,
do Man
yeah,
of Steel?
I didn't know.
Yeah.
Superman was his first
Exactly. So that's like sometimes it
thing, or
works.
big thing.
But but the problem is when you do it every time, you're rolling the dice every time, and that's what they seem to be doing now.
Yeah, I just don't get
Like-
it. Like, Brie Larson's an amazing actress, and somehow
They fucked
back-to-back films, you
They
can't
fucked
get
her
the
up.
best out of her. I don't get
They
that.
don't give her anything
It's
to
just
work
a
with.
terrible director, because at that point, it's like how it's
But
either
also it's a bad
there's
character for
extreme
her.
control,
There's no emotion in that
or
character.
and it could be a mixture of both. Extreme control, where Disney's basically top down saying no to every like maybe creative idea that the director possibly has, which would suck. And I've heard things where Sam Raimi even came out and said Disney fucked up his movie.
Yeah.
And then or it's basically the director, because they don't have a lot of experience, just have no vision, and that's very possible too. And,
But also with like Captain Marvel, the character just doesn't have much emotion.
but
and
then
so
it's
can't
Disney
really do
again.
much
It
with that.
goes back to Disney because they're the ones hiring those directors. So
but again, like that doesn't have to do with the director. That's the character I'm saying. So like,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. You can put you can
But
put
if
Martin
you're able to
Scorsese.
sit there and-
I don't think even Martin Scorsese is making that great of a Captain Marvel film unless you significantly change the Captain Marvel character.
Yeah.
That they have in the MCU. In the comics, I'm not too familiar with the character, but in the MCU, she's a cold person who doesn't really seemingly have that much connection. They
Well,
tried to
she's
change
OP.
that a little bit here.
And she's on.
She is way
she's
too
not,
OP.
She's not relatable. She's just not.
Yeah, she's not relatable. She's OP.
It's like
She's
Superman.
kind of cunty.
How can I relate to a guy who has zero?
But then again, like
weaknesses?
Superman at least is supposed to be like, oh, justice, and he does like all this other stuff, and he tries to be like personable. He's like, I'll save you, young child. But like with Captain Marvel, it's like, I'm gonna steal your motorcycle. Fuck you. Like that, and that's
Yeah,
a literal
like,
thing she did in the first movie.
the one thing that for me, like when Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, that made Spider-Man so relatable,
Yeah.
was in the second movie when he had no powers and he still went in the burning building and saved the little girl. And it was
Yeah.
like, holy shit. See, even without the powers, he still does this.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's
sure.
like that you root for a character like that.
Yeah.
I've never seen Captain Marvel ever flinch.
No, and again, like
Even
they
in
kind of
the
give her a little
movie,
bit
the
of
Marvels. She just
Yeah.
destroys the no-name boss at the end, and it's just like,
well, no, she doesn't even destroy him. She just explodes because the power, for some reason, is too strong.
Yeah.
But Kamala is the chosen one, I guess, so she's fine.
yeah.
That's so fucking retarded, stupid. On top of that,
And then she goes back to one
Cap-
place right after that scene, which
yeah, which makes no sense. Captain Marvel as well. Like she has a little bit of a connection with like Monica Rambeau here, and they have a little moment. There's like one moment or two moments where they actually do allow a little bit of character growth and moments to show through. However, they're cut short, and they're often cut short by a shitty joke or some sequence that isn't really as necessary. And so what it does is it takes the bite out of like these, like you'll get like 15 to 20 seconds of like some like, oh, okay, she's talking about her mom and how her mom died and she wanted her to come back and all this. Like I can feel that, and I can understand that. And Captain Marvel like feels like she does have some sympathy and like, oh, like I had my own burdens. But even then, they don't allow her to really portray that or express that in a way that feels human. Even when she's explaining it, it's almost like she's kind of like very detached from it to a certain extent, which I guess you kind of have to be. But yeah, the entire time the character just doesn't feel like there's much humanity.
And then she gets the powers, right, in the first one. So she gets the powers, and then she just stays the same age.
Yeah, she's forever that age. Oh yeah, so now she
whatever age she was, she
28
had
or something.
years of where she could have gained, like, had stories or emotions or anything, but she's just so autistic, and it's weird.
Very autistic, and then on top of that, like, it's very weird that like Monica Rambeau tries to treat Captain Marvel as a mom figure, even though she only met her a little bit when she was younger through her mom. And on top of that, they're basically the same age, it looks like, because like Captain Marvel doesn't age. So when she's like telling this other woman that looks like basically her age, like, you should have been there as a mother figure for me, it feels so fucking weird and just unreal.
Peter, what you were saying when we watched the film about the new relationship that Captain Marvel seems to have, apparently.
I'm unsure of what you are talking about.
Oh, should I bring it up?
I am
So
I don't
he
know.
thinks that Captain Marvel and Miss Marvel are having a relationship.
Why would you say that? That's fucking weird.
That's what you
said. She's a
said.
teenager.
That's what I told you. And
well,
then you sit there and said,
so this is some weird gaslighting shit, I guess you decided to do right now. Why would you bring up? So first of all, if that were the case, then why wouldn't I have brought it up? Why are you over here talking about a teenager and bring? No, I didn't know what you were talking about.
It's a weird thing to bring up.
I had no idea what you were talking about. And the fact that you are doing this weird, this is a weird bit,
and you're like, oh, Ms.
This
Marvel,
is a weird bit that's going on right now.
You can go live with this 34-year-old
Now, I
woman.
did say that. That is weird. That she's just going to apparently go live with like a fucking third or fourth woman.
Your
so that is
idea
definitely
of a possible
weird.
relationship.
I don't know what the. Okay, so this guy must be writing
why
fan
would she
fiction.
Just be like the.
Are you over on
Wattpad as a
Jason,
daughter?
We need to go into your search history. I think you might be a Wattpad user. Okay.
I don't even know what that is.
That's okay. Well, so basically, it's a fan fiction website, and clearly, I think that you might be writing some. Yeah, exactly, exactly. I think you might be writing some fan fiction over there, Jason. So that's all I'm saying. Okay.
Peter, were you picking up any of those vibes?
Do you think it's weird that she's going to live with a 34-year-old woman? This teenager?
Yeah, I mean, the back half of the film is a bit
Dude,
weird.
the whole back half of the film is fucked. Anyway, sorry.
I don't understand how, like, we've had this conversation on the flip side where, like, Star Wars doesn't learn from Marvel.
Yeah.
But right now, all of the Star Wars films in production are, like, Taika's style. Like, they're all director untitled film. Because they're bringing in actual good directors. They're like, James Mangold, you can do whatever the fuck you want.
That's pretty cool.
Whereas the Marvel films feels like they're like, we need to make this film. We have the script. We know where it needs to fit in the timeline.
Yeah, we have a
so
character.
we'll just bring in a cheap director.
Yeah,
we're not getting like
we need to put in.
Yeah, it's like we're not getting a director's come here make a cool Marvel film. It's like we just need someone to like fucking churn this out. Like it's
Yeah, and that's why you don't want a lot of people
Star
don't want to
Wars,
work with him.
A David Lynch and a David Cronenberg Star Wars film.
Okay, so first of all, that would be banger, but that would never happen.
Yeah, it'd be like Crash in space.
Dude, Crash in space. It sounds like a real fucking banger. I'm not gonna
Star
lie.
Wars Galaxies. You got these weird. Well, you got the aliens. What's the one that you seem to have a crush on? The specific alien.
Twi'leks?
Yeah, there you go. You have some Twi'leks there.
I'm sorry. Are Twi'leks
not Star Wars Crash movie?
Thank you, Peter. That's my guy.
Of course. No, and even in like
Tim does too.
We all know it. Order 66 and in the Revenge of the Sith, there was a hot Twi'lek that gets shot down like this like grassy field, and it was so sad. And I was like, wow.
Damn, I would have taken you home.
Unbelievable. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, and Java like keeps them as sex slaves. It's really
that
fucked
would
up.
revive Star Wars.
Yeah. Anyway. Or just Twi'lek porn. I think that would also.
But I don't get why. Why do you sit there and have Taika do a Star Wars film though when he failed with a Marvel?
Yeah, I don't know why he made the worst Marvel film. That's the thing. Yeah, that's what makes me.
I mean, having not seen Thor: Love and Thunder, I can be excited for it, but.
That to me that I don't because I'm trying to think
like when they signed him before Thor: Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
it makes sense.
No, I mean,
Like,
actually, no, because here's the thing: is before Love and Thunder, I was not nearly as much on the anti Taika train.
Yeah, I
Like,
like
I
Jojo
thought that
Rabbit.
JoJo's Rabbit was a bit overrated, and because I felt people were just jumping on it because it was kind of edgy and whatnot, and people just kind of were jumping towards anything that was edgy. But generally speaking, like, I understood the appeal, and I thought that the part in JoJo's Rabbit where like
There
it's
was a
revealed,
really emotional part with Scarlett
it's revealed that well,
Johansson.
also in that moment, it's like the whole film just goes and it goes and it goes. And then all of a sudden, you get slapped with the mother
The
hanging right
reality.
there. Like
Yeah.
literally, you're in this like child's like fantasy, and then literally he goes in the square, and you have no idea this is coming, and he just like seizes, he
And
like
realizing
hits the
that
body of his mom
the
behind him.
man that
It's
he's
insane.
basically has been hanging out with them, like his imaginary Hitler friend.
Killed his mom. Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yeah.
responsible for his
Exactly,
mother's
and
death.
so like that's really good, but that's like the one moment in
And
there,
that's why
and
that
people
Christian
focus so
Bale
much on
stuff
other
in
shit.
Love and Thunder, I think, is like that feels Taika, but why is the rest of it just? It's
No,
so,
the only thing, that's actually what didn't feel at all Taika. Like the only thing
because
that
it was
felt
a more emotional and like real.
the
moment.
I agree. The only thing that felt that what did feel Taika is his relationship with his daughter.
Yeah.
That felt like Taika. What didn't feel like Taika and what felt way more philosophical was the scene where he rips the head off of the
I mean,
thing.
Disney ain't coming up
That's
with
so
that.
good. But generally, that's not also like a Taika thing either. He doesn't usually do like more philosophical shit like
Yeah.
that. So generally speaking, like there is pieces of that feel kind of Taika and that don't. But the main things that feel Taika in for me is the comedy in that. Like there's the fucking terrible Zeus shit that feels so Taika. That entire Pantheon thing feels exactly like what Taika would do, and it's one of the worst set of scenes in the history of Marvel. Period. And so, like, that is, like, to me, one of the most egregious sins. So, overall, like, that's what made me much more worried about Taika going forward. Otherwise, like, I could see, like, okay, maybe, like, Taika could do some Star Wars thing. But, like, overall, like even, like, what we saw in the or what we do in the shadows was good. But, like, the best episode, like, the best parts were of the TV show.
Mhm.
And the TV show were the best episodes were the ones that he didn't direct, sadly. So, like, there were just little things like that I kind of picked up on over time. But generally, I don't wish him to downfall. Like, I hope that if he makes a Star Wars film, it's good. If anybody makes a film, I want it to be good. I don't want it to be bad.
Yeah.
Shit, even Blumhouse, you know, whatever. Even M. Night. If M. Night makes a film and it's good, great. Please,
Yeah,
for the
like-
love of God, make one good film. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Like, I'm having a look, and the only film they have where they're probably going to bring in a random director is the Lando film starring and written by Glover. But, like,
Okay.
that's
Let him direct
that
it.
makes
Fuck
sense
it.
because, yeah, they could just let him direct it, to be honest.
If he already
But,
wrote
like,
it
if
as
that's
starring,
fair to
fuck it.
bring in, like, a random guy because he's going to be such an integral part of the film, starring and writing it. But, like, all the other ones are, like, Mangold
Well,
with
he's pretty
Taika, Filoni.
successful, right? Like Donald Glover. I mean, he has a what was the hit show that was on FX? Atlanta.
Yeah, he did
Atlanta,
that,
Yeah,
Atlanta.
Atlanta is
Yeah.
extremely
He
popular.
directed a
very
bunch of
good.
episodes,
Based.
too.
Yeah, so it's
Yeah.
not like he's new to directing. Yeah, he's definitely.
And he's
directing.
yeah.
Well, didn't he
Community
direct
for
his
like
own
10 years or
music
something
videos,
like
like the
that?
This Is America music? Didn't he direct his own shit?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure. I thought he did.
I don't know. I'm not 100%.
I thought he did. Maybe not, but I thought he did.
But
I mean, I'm on it now, but
yeah,
yeah.
I think they should just let him direct it.
But like, yeah, no, I think that generally the Star Wars is gonna be one of the harder ones to like have a good comeback. I think that they do just kind of need to separate. Like, I wish that if they want to make stuff around stuff, yes, you can do the Ahsoka timeline, whatever the fuck. But I wish they would just allow separate projects set in the universe that have nothing to do with shit we've seen before. Maybe explore other time periods. Give us the Old Republic shit. Give us the gray Jedis. You know what I mean? Fuck it. Like, just let us see some of the cool shit. That's all I want.
Yeah, but with the Marvels, that ending is weird. Like the mid credit scene, which I assume you guys
Oh
saw,
no! Is that
to
the
me,
beast scene?
is like
The one you're talking about?
no the new Avengers scene.
Oh yeah,
Which
where
one?
so
That
yeah,
to
where
me
Miss
is
Marvel
what is wrong with.
is recruiting Hawk.
Oh god, that
yeah.
was so bad.
So
She's
cringe.
Nick Fury
That
now.
is like
Yeah.
Dude, that was
that
the
in a
cringiest
bubble.
shit.
Like you show that scene to someone that
Yeah.
like loves the films in 2019. You say
Oh
like
yeah.
like you show them that and they're like, what the fuck happened?
This is
Like,
a bad
this is the problem
parody.
with the MCU now.
Yeah.
they're like repeating what they've done and like changing it to be like. I'm not going to say any controversial.
Well,
But it's
listen,
just,
it's pander. It's like what did Cartman say in the Pandaverse?
Pandaverse.
Put a chick in it and make her lame and gay. It is what it is.
Chicken,
And listen, now here's the thing. I am very partial. I'm liberal as fuck. Okay, I'm a leftist over here. At the end of the day, I love female leads. I think that they can be done extremely well, and they have been done extremely well in the past. I think that the issue is that, generally speaking, they're just making these things parodies of themselves, and instead of allowing people to have their own projects and do their own thing, they're forcing other people into the roles of these like already pre-existing characters, which I think is fine
Bishop's a
sometimes.
terrible fucking character. I hate the character.
Sure, yeah, I hate the character too. On top of that, Miss Marvel is fine, but like, no, Kate Bishop is the Hawkeye replacement.
yeah, okay.
Haley Steinfeld. I hate Haley Steinfeld's
I'm gonna
character.
say, it's crazy because like I liked Miss Marvel
Yeah,
in the
Miss
show
Marvel I
and the
enjoy.
Yeah, it's a
film,
good show.
but that scene is just like,
It's so bad.
what are we doing? It's just
Well,
But
yeah.
that's
why
what I'm
would they
saying. Let her
trust
do
her
her own
enough
thing.
to go and recruit her anyway? Like, I don't
She probably
understand that.
kinda
Like, she's
did it
still
on her.
fresh, right? Like, she's just getting into like
just
the
like a
whole-
funny thing.
Yeah, it feels like it's supposed to be a parody. But why don't you just let her do her own thing? Like, have her approach her in her own way.
Yeah.
Why do we need to do some weird Nick Fury fucking
It
bullshit?
literally is like a scene out of like Scary Movie or something.
And why would
Yes,
I be
yes, it is.
excited for that anyway? Why would I be excited
Yeah,
for
what makes
that
me hyped
parody?
about that? And also, we know they're doing like the
Yeah.
Teen Avengers or whatever the fuck, or the Kid Avengers or
The
whatever.
Young Avengers.
The Young Avengers. I don't fucking. It's like, why should I care? Like, none of these characters have been made to
Teen
have
Titans is
anything
better
interesting.
than Young
Dude,
Avengers.
give me the Teen Titans, and give me a gritty Teen Titans, and I will be happy. Okay.
Well, they kind
They
of
did that in the HBO show. I know.
Yeah.
And I watched a bit of it, and
It
I
was
enjoyed
pretty
what I
good.
did. Yeah, I
Yeah.
enjoyed what I watched. I should watch more. But fucking give us just some good shit like that. Don't make this cringe goddamn Disney shit, okay? Because that's what it feels like. It does feel Disneyified.
Yeah, it's yeah. I just
I mean,
I don't know if they're
Yeah.
delusional in like thinking that these characters just automatically are extremely popular because they've created them.
yeah,
And it's
Yeah,
just
they
like,
might be.
why none of these characters I care about. I care about Loki because the character's so incredibly, obviously Tom Hiddleston's an amazing actor, but it's incredibly well written. And everything
Yeah, very
around
well
him and his world is well written.
Yeah.
And so it's just like, that's why I care about him. And you could do that in 2 seasons. Because Loki I liked, but those 2 seasons of Loki, like, that just took it to another level.
100%. So, did you want to finish up
Like
any
the
statements on
Beast.
the Marvels? Then we're
Mhm.
going to
Oh, the
Loki.
Beast. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
angry.
like-
about
I
that.
don't even care. You know,
It's just like-
kill me.
I hate the fact that they used X-Men in this way because it feels so cheap.
Yeah.
For something that is like the intellectual property of X-Men is, I loved X-Men as a kid. I still love it. It's just, yeah, it felt so cheap when they
I
did
just
that.
love that there was the edit where somebody basically put the lady who was having the meltdown on the plane.
Oh yeah.
Where she's like, "That motherfucker is not real," and then it cuts to the Beast. God damn,
Yeah.
that was amazing. Yeah. Anyway, I don't even like to think about it. That was a terrible,
I mean,
terrible.
it's interesting that we have the X-Men in the MCU now. Fully.
Yep.
Not
Yeah.
just like Beast, but like the entire X-Men universe is now in the MCU in a way.
Yep. And it's just gonna be
It destroyed.
continued to and it's gonna continue to be integrated, and it'll be Yep. So then slowly they'll get Sony to stop making Spider-Man films.
They
and they'll-
think, well,
take
it's
over
new,
that.
so come in for
The weird, like,
premiere.
basically confirmed stuff from Deadpool. Because Ryan Reynolds posts like all those set photos and stuff, and there's the set photo of him fighting Wolverine and other people on the 20th Century Fox logo.
Uh-huh.
It seems like it's going to be like it seemed like it was going to be a Deadpool versus the 20th Century Fox X-Men universe stuff. But I don't get why you would do a Deadpool film of him killing off the X-Men and then have the X-Men, the same X-Men in the MCU.
Well, that
like,
uniform
it's
is
also
like, traditional
convoluted.
for Wolverine, but it's never been worn in like any of the Hugh
Yeah, in
Jackman
the live
Wolverine
actions.
movies.
Yeah.
So that's the first time that we've ever seen that. which I love it because I love the cartoons. So, but
Fair.
Yeah, I think
I am excited for Deadpool. I think it should be good because Ryan Reynolds
it's
seems to
gonna
have
be
control.
good. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. There's no way that it's bad.
I mean,
I just
I keep my anything
it's
low with
so
Marvel, but hopefully,
it's gonna be so convoluted. Like it seems like it's like TVA, blah blah blah, but also the Wolverine allegedly in the film is the Wolverine from first Days of Future Past. It's like the time travel Wolverine that didn't time travel.
okay.
It's like weird
Oh, I
as fuck.
remember you. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because then
The one that
after
was in
the
the building or
time,
whatever as it was about to collapse or whatever because the
yeah, like
Sentinels
all
were
that weird
destroying everything.
shit. I guess then like in his timeline, he then becomes like the Wolverine that wears the yellow suit and all of that shit. And then they
Okay.
take him out of that timeline. But
Okay.
like it's just it's so it's
It's
all of
Yeah.
yeah,
this
it gets so
multiverse stuff.
I mean,
I'm
convoluted.
Deadpool
so
is weird too, so that's why you can get away with some of it too, in a
Sure,
way.
that's
But
true.
yeah, it just I would be so upset if like the Deadpool 3 turned out to be terrible. But yeah,
Yeah.
I hope so
We
it
will
depends how
do the
much
same.
they
because it's
rest
rated
on it
R,
now. Because
which is good.
yeah, when it was like a Deadpool Wolverine buddy film, that sounds
Yeah.
great. But now that they've delayed everything else, I'm worried like, are they going to shoot extra scenes to make Deadpool 3 more tied to the MCU? Like, it's
Probably.
the only MCU film. Yeah. Are they
Yeah.
going to have just Mobius in it, or is Loki going to be in it? Like, what timeline of the TVA are they going to visit?
Yeah. So I mean, let's. I
Like,
think
it
we
would
can.
have to be transitioning to Loki
Yeah.
talk. I feel like it would have to be pre season finale because if the premise is that they arrest Deadpool as a variant, it would have to be back in the time when they were doing that,
Yeah.
right? Like the
Yeah. It would be.
modern, yeah.
Yeah.
So Loki might be in that film then.
No, because I think what they would do is they do it before Loki goes to the TVA.
Yeah.
Because Loki was only in the TVA for a short period of time, realistically.
But he was
You know,
also in the before the TVA when he was
that is
traveling
true.
around.
Well, he was time slipping, which is true.
Yeah.
Speaking of all that, so what did you what did you think? You see, you rewatched season 1, and then you went into
Mhm.
season 2, correct? So what were your
Yeah.
thoughts on season 2, real quickly? What were your general take?
It's definitely the best thing they've done so far.
Based. Okay.
Yeah. The episode 5 and 6 was so well directed. Was it like a different
Pretty sure
was
it
it like a
was the same
different
team on all of them.
I actually don't know. I'm pretty sure that it was the same. I know that what I had heard was that there were 2 directors that were like the head of it that had a history of like doing like horror films here and there and whatnot. And so like for example, we have the scenes where like first of all, Ravana crushes Docs, or is it Docs? Or is it Dex? I think it's
Yeah.
Doc. Yeah,
Doc.
and so Doc's.
Yeah.
She basically gets crushed with the rest of her team inside a goddamn little cube and whatnot. And there's that music, and in the background, like Miss Minutes is like jerking off and
Flicking
has
her
the
bean.
biggest smile. Yeah, and basically like that whole thing has this real horror tinge to it. On top of that, like when like Sylvie goes to the rock store or the music store and puts on the rock album and like sits back and like the guy is like, Sylvie, like there's this kind of horror kind of aspect to the spaghettiifying of the universe. So I really enjoyed those
That's all in
aspects.
those. Just
Yeah.
looking Ensign and Moorhead. But the 2 episodes that they did not direct
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
were actually like looking at the ones they didn't direct, those were weaker overall. They should have just done more.
Which episodes didn't they direct?
They did the first one and then they hopped off for 2 and 3 and then they came back for like the whole like army and the explosion and stuff.
See, here's the thing is I thought what they did really well actually all the way through was they kind of had these certain aspects that felt like for example, the time slipping, I actually enjoyed how they brought it back and it kind of made sense how that whole thing played out. But I like that at first what I thought was going to happen was we were going to have a whole fucking like season potentially of a side journey of going and trying to fix this time slipping rather than focusing on what was important. And instead, what they do is in the first 2 episodes, even 3 episodes, they sit there and they kind of get through all of the important aspects. They get you reassociated with like what universe we're in. They get you reassociated with the characters. They have a bit of character growth here and there, but really they just go through and they get
the first episode.
yeah, they get in the first episode they get the mechanics out of the way and
The
everything.
second one, they went to London.
Oh, that
They
fair.
go and they
And
get
the
That's
third
where they find
episode, they
Victor
went
Timely.
back to Victor Time.
the third episode is when they go to, like, Victor Timely goes back to his lab and everything, right? And Miss Minutes tries to, like, comes out with her thing and she
Victor
shuts him off.
Timely he was so good.
Dude's
Yeah.
perfect, 100%.
Holy
Oh
shit.
yeah. Oh, in episode 6, where you see Kang basically do the stutter, Victor Timely. It's so great.
Having literally said as well, and I still like the first season of Loki with Kang, I was like, no, the MCU villain. But the Victor Timely stuff and the final episode, his Kang performance, like completely sold. And I'm very disappointed to hear that they're going in a different direction. But he's fucking great. Like,
Yeah.
his
That's why at this
addition to the
point I
MCU is
just
great.
don't want them to move away now. Just from Jonathan Majors, he's just so great as an actor. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Or
but
just Kang in general. Like,
yeah,
I wish they would just recast, but they're fucking stupid.
yeah, they're probably not going to recast.
No,
But,
I wish they just wouldn't.
How did you feel about how they handled like the whole Groundhog Day episode 6, where you basically
Well-
had to learn like all these different things?
Probably should go through like
So-
kind of episode by episode.
Overall, yeah, we can do that. I was just gonna say, overall, like, I have realized, because I know you guys are big fans
Yeah.
of the other film that old mate's in, Kei Hun Kwon, the multiverse. Oscar film.
The fucking Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have just discovered that I just generally, even though I liked that film and I liked Loki, generally it takes points off being like multiversal. Like I just don't like it for some reason. Like it's just, I'm already sick of it. Which
I
is
don't
ridiculous.
mind. That's the thing is for me,
Um,
I don't get really sick of things as long as it's done well. Like if it's again like
Yeah.
there's certain things that obviously the multiverse is not. I think that's one of the aspects of, for
They
example,
use as a scapegoat to
Yeah.
correct mistakes because they fucked up.
or like for example things get really stale. Like for example, Rick and Morty. I watched like the first 3 seasons, and after that, it just kind of like I fell off watching it because it just kind of got stale and felt like the same thing and over again. And there were fun aspects of it, like the more hidden lore or Easter eggs, but it's like you only get that every fucking 5 episodes, and I don't want to have to sit here and wade through all this dog shit to get to the interesting parts. So like but generally speaking, yeah, as long as it's good. And that's the thing that I find with this also, I don't think even really, yes, it has to deal with timelines and whatnot, but more importantly, this one did deal more with the time slipping aspect more than anything.
Yeah.
And I think that they utilized it in more of a time loop aspect, and the whole idea that time is a circle, which I really enjoy, kind of how they like literally exemplify that, and they do it in like multiple ways. And I think the other interesting thing is Kang seems to get his power from those loops, which it's interesting how Loki then matches him through utilizing that same thing. So we can get there in a moment, but yeah, I figure we can just do kind of like a quick, we don't know how to go deep into
Yeah, we
everything,
can
but just
jump
episode.
through like
Uh-huh.
episode by episode.
Yeah.
Also on the side note, while it was brought up, I think the mid-season finale of Rick and Morty was very good, and I
Okay.
think without Justin Roiland, the show's fine. It's clearly like Dan Harmon's a good writer, so
Okay.
if any Rick and Morty fans were like wondering if him leaving the show affected it, it's I think it's better overall.
I heard the voices
without
and
it.
they weren't that bad. I
Yeah,
I
they,
didn't mind
they
them.
sound alright.
Yeah.
I was more concerned that the like comedy and writing would suffer because he was
Sure.
like the co-creator and co-writer.
Yeah,
But
well, he just
that's
made
all-
the
that's
original
all good.
concept, really.
I felt like
Yeah.
one of the best episodes of Rick and Morty is when Rick goes off to space jail, and it's like the end of this. It's like
Oh
season
yeah, that's a
finale.
great one. That's a great episode. Or there's the episode. Honestly, it felt like a throwaway episode, but I kind of really like it. Looking back on it, was the toilet episode where Rick has like a planet where he goes and uses this toilet, and it's like his private place. Like there was a lot of really interesting, deep aspects to that one. There's some stuff in there that's good, but yeah, I just found that like there is a lot of good stuff in Rick and Morty, but it did feel like there was just so much of the same fucking Mr. Meeseeks and all this other like cliche jokes done repeatedly, and the audience is just so infuriating a lot of the time of that show.
Yeah, actually, in just a general sense, I feel like it's actually moved away from that.
Yeah,
I guess because the guy that does that shit isn't there. He can't go, me. But a lot of the new season is just like darker drama or like
really
more
Got
like
it.
not surrealist, but like existential comedy.
Got
which
it.
I guess Dan
Like more
Harmon is
like,
just a depressing, fucked up writer.
More like
which is like,
BoJack Horseman type direction.
yeah,
or-
it's like
okay,
trending
cool.
in that direction a bit. Yeah,
I like that. I might give it a watch then. I might give the most recent. That's the most recent season. You said it kind of got like that.
yeah, the one that's
Okay.
ongoing now. The
Okay.
voices are a bit odd, but
I might give it a
once you
try.
get into it, it's like,
I might
oh, the
give it a
voices
try.
sound the same.
Yeah, I might give it a try then.
And
Okay.
the first episode of Loki, the Ouroboros
Yes.
episode,
Dude, yeah. So what do you
Yeah.
feel about I can't remember K Quan or
Avon
Quan?
Quorden, I think
Yeah,
it's something like
it's
that.
something along those lines. Sorry guys, we're trying. But I love his addition. He really. I was
Mhm.
worried about what would happen when you would bring on somebody alongside Mobius and Loki, because they have just such a clean and interesting relationship, and you already had the dynamic of Sylvie and Loki. But I feel like the dynamic of Sylvie and Loki got thrown to the wayside a lot during this season, which for me takes away like from the ending a bit. We can get there later, but because it feels like a little like, oh, I don't necessarily understand why he cares so much about like, oh, I'm not gonna hurt Sylvie, when it's like, well, she hasn't really been a dynamic here other than like a force against you this entire season. So if anything, she's more of an antagonist right now. Anyway, regardless, so Ouroboros, like, yeah, what did you think of his addition? And on top of that, what did you think of the
Like,
general the
it's
time
crazy.
thing of going back and forth? Yeah.
It's crazy that he like retired for so long and has
Yeah.
come back so strong. Like,
Dude,
um,
I
in
want him to get
multiple
all the roles.
I mean, he comes back and he wins an
Yeah.
Oscar. That's insane.
Yeah, I know. And I want to
does
see
that?
him more. I could watch him in so many films.
Yeah,
he's just such a great,
He's very good,
bubbly guy.
character actor. Like he really gets into his roles, and I really
absolutely.
appreciate
And he's
that.
just like, he has such a nice demeanor.
Mhm.
Like he just seems so approachable and like friendly. And so yeah, he's
I
a
mean,
great
everything,
addition.
everywhere, all at once just showed his like how great of an actor he is. Because
Absolutely.
he had to take on various roles throughout that movie.
Dude,
and
yeah,
be
and he
different
really
characters.
did. I gotta rewatch
But
that movie
honestly,
again.
Loki has the best acting. Like, I
Loki
don't-
does, top to bottom.
Like
Dude,
Owen Wilson's
Owen
allowed
Wilson
to shine and
killed
show
it.
that he is a serious actor when he needs to be. and it's
Dude,
great.
Owen Wilson murdered it in this season. I feel like everybody did what they were supposed to do and did what they were directed to do very fucking
Some
well.
characters are just not like meant like really well written. I guess I don't want to say well written. It's just they just aren't.
Well,
they
some
don't
characters
shine.
aren't fleshed out. Like
Yeah.
B-15, for example. I think it doesn't
I
really
like
have.
the actress.
I love the actress, but she doesn't have, or like Casey, for example. Like
Mhm.
he's like, for some reason, he somehow goes from being a guy who's like escaping Alcatraz to being this nice, friendly, preppy guy. Like, you know, those types of things don't fully make sense, but I kind of
Yeah.
like the joke about it to a degree, and I like the idea that the joke is a little more subtle. It's a little more cerebral. They're not throwing it in your face. You have to kind of think about it in order to be like, oh yeah, this fucking guy apparently went from being an Alcatraz like this to being the nice guy that we know. So like, it's not like the Love and Thunder, like I'm gonna throw a joke at you every 5 seconds. And I love that they do allow a lot of the humor in the show comes from the irony that's naturally present, and it doesn't like shove it in your face or force it in there. It just completely feels natural. I also love how they use the time slipping thing, where Loki slips backwards and tells Ouroboros. So then Ouroboros
Yeah.
is able to over time be like, oh wait, no, I remember, I have a thing right here. And he's like, how did that happen? And he picks it
No,
up
it
and he
would take
puts it
me
down.
years to build that. Oh wait, I already did.
Yeah, dude, I loved that. That was such a good way to handle it. And it sets up the idea of this whole time loop thing. That's the thing too, is I feel like they do such a good idea of throwing you in, but also kind of giving you a rope where they're like slowly kind of introducing you to, oh yeah, okay, so this is a time loop that's going on, and so things can change in these ways over time, and it kind of sets the course for the rest of the show. Also, we see that Sylvie is like in the TVA when he slips forward in time. We also know now that the TVA has some level of time because generally he can slip forward and backwards. So those things were interesting. But on top of that, I felt like the first couple episodes were like, because the second episode again was what? That was the pruning of the timelines.
Where they go to the fair and then they meet.
Yes.
Timeline.
Yeah, and they prune. And what also doesn't Docs prune the timelines in that one, or is that episode 3?
That's episode 3.
Episode 2 is just repairing the stuff, and
I think they meet Sylvie in episode 2 for the McDonald's.
Well, they do. Yeah, I think they do meet Sylvie at episode 2 at McDonald's for sure. Yep. Well, they meet Brad, right? Is that episode 2 or 3?
Yeah. Breaking Brad.
The Breaking Brad is episode 2.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So and also Jason, and so did Tim, thought that like we got the wrong episode because it starts kind of abruptly when you get to episode 2. But I loved the addition of Brad, and it sets up. So she does prune the timelines at the end of that episode. Too. What was that?
I like seeing Loki's magic as well.
Oh, I know, and it's underutilized. And then when he does but I like that too because it makes it so he's not so OP. He does have to earn a lot of the things that he does. And so I also do love though.
It's only really one fight scene.
They don't really.
Episode 3, but where they sit there and have to take on all the TSA agents or
the TVA agents.
The TVA agents.
Yeah, there is that. Also, Loki fights Sylvie a couple times.
I totally agree. Like, the episode started abruptly.
Yes.
And I also felt like the plan came in abruptly. Like, they were like, oh, they're going to blow stuff up. And then they, like, teleported to where they were blowing stuff up and was suddenly, like, fighting them. But they blew everything up.
The thing with the episode...
pretty quick.
And, so that one was... Episode 2 is the one where they... Episode 2 is the one where they do prune them. Or Docs does prune the timelines. And so, basically, in episode 1, we have B-15 talking to Docs and like the upper heads of the TVA, and there's kind of this divide in what should be done, whether they should continue to prune timelines or whether they shouldn't. Generally, obviously, like you don't really know at that point what's going to happen if the loom breaks down, and that's really the biggest question. Is if the loom breaks down, does it just go into nothingness? Does like what the fuck happens? So generally, though, we see that like I do like how they kind of keep the pace pretty quick in it though, because it feels like all of the things make sense, and while it does seem a little abrupt in some ways, the way that they introduce it, like through Brad, where Brad and them are sitting at the thing and Brad is all of a sudden getting really anxious and he's like, hey, hold on, I need to go. And in the previous episode they mentioned that like, hey, there is this big divide. It seems like reasonable that would be a plan that would happen in the background. But I do think that it does seem pretty abrupt on how they find them so quickly. But the reason they're able to find them so quickly is because there's a bunch of agents colliding in one place. So they have the TIM pads, which can be tracked. So like when you think about the technology of it, the only thing that I question is why didn't they catch it sooner? Like obviously maybe they would have been like... Yeah. That maybe they were just busy doing other shit, or maybe they weren't paying attention to the hunters or whatever it was. But generally, you'd think that somebody at the top would have tried to, but then again, Docs was one of the top leaders. Maybe she was just placating them, right? We don't, and so that's the thing though, is you have to kind of address it yourself. Like, they don't really say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like illogical.
Yeah.
It just was a bit
abrupt.
Interesting. And I did not like the choice. It's something similar in the new Mission Impossible. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but like they're just showing like they just took away the I'm losing the track of it, but like when they're like, oh, they're killing billions of people and stuff, and they're just showing the reactions and stuff. I wish they would have had like an Across the Spider-Verse style thing, how you saw his family like disappear or anything.
That would have been good, yeah. I agree. It's much more abstract when you're just watching the branches on the screen disappear. When you could see the whole thing. Well, because the spaghettifying thing costs money for sure.
Yeah.
And we do see it a little bit where, like, later on and whatnot. But I think that probably is it, where it was more of a budget thing. But I agree, it would have been far more impactful to see the people dissipating rather than just have it be on the screen, for sure. But the other
They
thing
might have
too,
also done that because, like, the whole, what was her name? Is it Docs is the leader of that group?
Docs is the leader, yeah.
The whole plot with her was like one of the only ones that I felt was a bit weaker. Because then in like the next or 2 episodes later, they're like, oh, we'll forgive her. We'll let her like.
The reason she didn't
come
say
back
she would
out.
forgive later on when we come to B15, basically B15 comes to Docs and she tells him like, hey, Rin Slayer's gonna come and she's gonna try to recruit you, and she's gonna try to destroy the TVA. And basically, Docs wants the TVA to be alive because she still believes in the original mission. So basically, she agrees to work with B15 in the sense that she doesn't want to see the TVA under some new dictator that's going to push her in some direction. And obviously, Docs is like a freedom fighter for her beliefs, which obviously, like, she thinks she's a freedom fighter for keeping the TVA as it was. So, like, generally speaking, like, I can see
Well,
how like that makes sense. Uh-huh.
They had a really good ending scene with her where I think she didn't necessarily agree with B15, but when Renslayer
Yes.
came and put her and was like, will you join me? She's like, well, she said something like, you need to like
I won't
think
bend in
about the
the.
big picture.
Yeah, and she also said, I
And
won't bend a knee
Fox
to
was like,
another
I am
dictator.
finally, yeah. And she's like, I'm
Yeah.
finally thinking about the big picture. And like all of her soldiers just were like, fuck it, kill us.
No, dude,
That was
I
cool.
thought that was, and especially because the hunters gave me Spartan vibes, because the hunters were like not given names. They were treated like they were just given numbers. They were like top like hunters, and they would go out and they would just prune people. They were ruthless. They were known for being super like dicks. So like generally, but they were like really like about what they believed in. So I thought that made like a lot of sense generally. So overall though, I think that like episode 2, episode 1, I also felt episode 1 real quickly, the ending felt a little weird on how he just all of a sudden plops back, and he like hits Owen Wilson just in time through the door and gets him. It felt all a little Mission Impossible-y, where it's like, oh, you just got it at the last second. However, later on they kind of go through the time loops and you see how that happened. So it makes a little bit more sense, and I like that they do that, where they continue on, and as you go through, they close these loops that they open, which is really interesting.
Yeah, not a lot of directors do that.
Yeah, literally, they'll
Especially
just be like, we're
J.J.
gonna leave it
Abrams.
open. Yeah, fuck it. We don't need to close any loops. Generally, also, I liked the fact that like Brad too, real quickly, was like this real dick of a character, but he was kind of all about himself. But then at the same time, it's like he clearly just wanted to live his life on the timeline as a movie star, and it's like, I feel that. Like, good for you, Brad. You figured it fuck out. Good for you. Also, I think Owen Wilson not really capitulating to going and seeing himself on the timeline until towards the end, when he realizes like, oh, okay, we've kind of done our thing. I thought that was really cool. Also, seeing Owen Wilson as Mobius, on the being a jet ski salesman was fantastic. It was so perfect. They had this whole bit, of him always talking about jet skis and whatnot, and it made, I think, even in season 1 when we were watching it, I said, oh, he's a jet ski salesman 100%. And to see that play out was so fucking great. And so beyond that, I'm trying to think what else were some main
they made
figures.
his character really interesting in the fact that he's a single father to 2 boys.
Oh yeah, and his wife recently died, which was really sad, and it makes sense of why he was so hell bent probably on helping stop it. Like, just like when Loki came and said, "Hey, your boys are in danger," he immediately jumped to it. And I'm guessing like when Kang or whoever came to him from the TVA and said, "Hey, we're gonna recruit you," before their memories were wiped, I thought that like he probably would have been like, oh, okay, well, I want to save my boys, so like if you can leave another version of me here, whatever, then we can do that. So like I thought that made a lot of sense, and that was a really cool way to do that and show that his character, he kind of looked at it as like, oh, I don't have anything else to live for, but because I think that's partially of him thinking, oh, my wife is dead, like subconsciously maybe he remembers that, and that's why he didn't want to go back to the timeline. But then again, he does have something to fight for, which is his children, which I thought was, that was really dope. So that entire aspect is good. Ravonna getting what she deserved and getting pruned, and then getting eaten by Eliath at the end of time was absolutely well deserved.
She got eaten.
I mean, it popped up right in front of her. It's implied heavily that she got
Maybe
eaten.
something saved her.
I highly doubt it. It's pretty heavily implied. The Miss Minutes thing was really the key lime pie thing real quick. It's funny that here's the thing that Jason said is that it said that so I said, oh, look at all the pies, every single pie is key lime, and if you look at the wall there's all these green key lime pies, which is so fucking insane that they lined it all up.
Where's the variety?
Well, Jason said like, oh look, it says flavor of the month, but then I remembered, wait a minute, the TVA, according to Ouroboros, isn't supposed to have time. So technically, it's always the flavor of the month because there's only 1 month. There's no time. So yeah, the fact that they just had key lime pie at all times was fucking hilarious. I've never had key lime pie. I need to try that shit. I'm not gonna lie. It looked enticing.
I don't think I've had key lime pie.
It looked enticing. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I like lime too. So maybe I'll like key lime. So, but the point of the matter is that I thought was fun, and then the fact that like Loki and him take a moment and they step away and they go and they do that, and then Sylvie gets upset at them for doing it when she's realizing the mess that she's made through doing all this fucking bullshit was pretty interesting. The fact that Miss Minutes reveals her like love for Kang, I thought was a really interesting aspect as well. And the whole idea is that
I don't even know how that works.
Well, so Kang
the whole
the
whole end of that 1893 where they're like on the boat and then she's like, I love you, and then they cut to throwing her off the boat.
Yeah.
And then they cut to like, I love you, and then he pauses her and then she's back. Well, it was like very weird.
Well, so his whole thing is he doesn't do partners. He refuses to have a partner.
Yeah.
And that's why the second that she Ravana says, "Oh, we'll be partners," he throws her off. Miss Minutes he thinks is just an AI, so he doesn't think anything about it. He doesn't know what this cartoon thing is. He doesn't think it's going to have emotions, but it's supposed to, it's a super sophisticated, advanced AI that's supposed to replicate humans and human emotions. And she even says that he allowed her to have human emotions to a certain extent. So, and they'd have like long conversations. On top of that, it makes sense that they were like the only ones with each other at the end of time. It makes sense that she might have started thinking, with her human emotions that there was something there. But generally speaking, obviously, Kang, who doesn't believe in ever having a partner, wouldn't have done so. I mean, he literally threw Ravana out and wiped everybody's memory just so he can have the end of time to himself, which, to a degree, there could be some purpose for that. Maybe having, anything at the end of time besides him could have led to some catastrophic breakdown of his overall plan. I have no idea. But the fact that, like, he didn't give her a body when he probably could have, because he seemed to be kind of pretty fucking powerful, probably was intentional, I would imagine, because he didn't want her to be that. So I thought it was definitely kind of like creepy, but I thought the main thing that I didn't like about that storyline was that it was just so obvious, but Victor Timely's so fucking autistic that like he didn't see that, like, oh, this thing clearly is super goddamn jealous of Ravana. And on top of that, it seemed like he wanted Ravana to a certain degree. So I don't even know, like, I don't know if he wanted her sexually or if he wanted her romantically or what it was.
Yeah, when she comes back the like third or fourth time or whatever, he's like, oh, thank God you're back. I hope that you survived.
And then she pulls the goddamn giant pruning thing on her.
Well, that's when Loki's doing the whole Groundhog Day thing, and then he sees Miss. I know your heart is broken, and it's like goes in this whole thing, and then she's like,
what? Yeah, she's like, what are you talking about? No, dude, that was fucking amazing. I loved how they left off, like, each episode had a better and better cliffhanger, in my opinion. Like, generally the idea that, like, Miss Minutes was telling Ravana that there was some secret, I thought was fantastic. And then we get into it and it's like, oh, the secret is that he pushed her, like, she was a key figure in his taking power overall. And then, he just pushed her out at the end, even though he promised her a seat at the end of time. Like, all of that was pretty interesting. And it sets up Kang as an untrustworthy, like, narrator and character who clearly will do anything that they, need to in order to have their overall plan happen. Which my guess is, the way that I saw this was it felt like this was the end of everything. And this was almost like Kang's big bang. Like, he wanted, like either Loki or whatever it is to take the seat for a moment so he could go and then reset through, like, me. So one of the questions that I had is, why is the sacred timeline the sacred timeline? one of the reasons could be is that whatever variant of Kang is necessary for his overall plan could have been on that specific sacred timeline. And so he was trying to keep that specific timeline just imminent over everything. So that way, no matter what, he could come back and maintain his power, even and then retake it from whoever else is at the end of time while he's in his absence. So that's kind of the vibe that I got there. And especially when, you know, Loki, he goes through this whole fucking Groundhog Day thing, which is really cool. And I love how they handle the Groundhog Day thing. So we get rid of Ravana, and basically Loki gets to the end of everything, and he goes and he meets
How long
Ouroboros.
was it that he had to learn everything?
So he'll get him there. So he meets Ouroboros. Ouroboros is he's both a science fiction writer and a scientist, and he basically goes and he uses the TVA guidebook to recreate the Tim pads and whatnot. And he has a side note where he's like, "Oh yeah, I lost my job and my wife and my kids to make this Tim pad over the course of 9 months. I didn't stop working. I just worked 9 months straight, and I don't have any money left." It's like, okay, yeah, dude, yeah, that's pretty fucking intense. But it felt right for his character because he just seems so autistic and hell-bent. And the fact that he's like, oh yeah, my character came to life from my book. It all makes sense to me. It's just really funny. But basically, there's a great line where earlier on, he's like, okay, so maybe this is a science. Loki thinks it's a science problem where they need the Tim pad and they need to get everybody together for their temporal aura. Where Ouroboros, or AB, I think is what he's called in the real world, says that, hey, maybe it's a fiction problem. Maybe the time slipping is the thing. And Loki tries to figure out the time slipping and how it works, and he can't really figure it out until finally at the end of the episode, everything goes to shit, and he figures out that it's not about who, because earlier on AB says, oh, it's about who, what, where, or when, or he says what, where, when, or why. But Loki says it's not about any of that, it's about who. So apparently whenever he focuses on a specific individual, it takes him to them on the sacred timeline. And so that's kind of like a power that he realizes how to utilize. And this is something that sets Loki up as a super OP character. You can't really allow him back in the world now because he has this insane fucking ability. And on top of that,
what is the reasoning for him unlocking these powers throughout the thing?
So he gets affected by the temporal aura of the time loom, and so the loom seems to be giving him this like capability of time travel. Whatever reason, whenever it explodes and the radiation hits him, maybe it's because he's a god, and so he interacts with it differently, or it's just simply because Kang set it up to be this way, like he says. If we're trusting what Kang says, maybe Kang just set it up to be this way. But basically, Loki then is able to go and learn these things, but not only that, he asks AB, or Obi, depending on which timeline you're in, hey, what do how long would you think it would take for me to learn everything you know about science and everything, fiction, science, everything in the world? And he said, oh, it would take you forever. And it says centuries later. And I fucking love that personally as a choice, as a pacing choice, as everything else so much. It felt like the
pacing on the last 2 episodes is perfect.
It's amazing because they allow the audience to be trusted. They're like, okay, we're just gonna trust that you know what we mean when we say this. We're gonna tell you this. They're gonna say centuries later. All right, you just trust us. You can see then also that Loki has become a true expert on everything that he's doing. Like every loop that he's trying, he's doing it perfectly every single time, or doing it better and better each fucking time. He seems to have all this intuitive knowledge.
The computer and sitting there typing away.
Yeah, the computer. He takes the computer himself. Yeah, and starts fucking jamming away. Yeah.
Other shows and movies would have shown everything and built on it, which works at times. But the final loop where he's it does the password, and then he's like, go down there, don't put the thing down because it'll fall off. Don't tape this up, do that. It's like they just don't show you those failed attempts. They just tell you about it, which is great.
And it implies everything so heavily, but it doesn't have to go through all of this excursion of telling you what happened or anything. It just really trusts the audience. I love that so much. It's so rare in Marvel.
When Victor Timely is walking down the ramp,
and he puts it down and forgets.
Victor, I told you not to put that down.
Yes, dude. And so there were parts as well in the trailer for the episode, because I pulled the trailer to do the reviews of each episode. So when I did that, like I saw in the trailer like I saw him talking into the mic to somebody, and I was like, oh, that's a weird like thing. How the fuck is that going to be in the episode? And then to see it was him talking to Timely out on the thing was like really fucking dope. And yeah, just the way that entire thing is utilized, how he learns the like all the machines perfectly, how it all works, and when it's all broken down, he's like, no, this has to work, this is the thing that's supposed to work, until he realizes, oh, he has to kill Sylvie because there is no option. There was
that
no.
was really good when they finally like did the loom thing and it still explodes.
Yes.
And he's like, what could I have done differently? And Victor's like, nothing, just nothing. And then he goes back to fucking, no, don't kill him, Sylvie. That was great.
Yeah, and it's true because like at the end of the day too, the loom, you can't like to a degree, Kang says that he's wrong, but Timely is technically right. You can't really upscale the loom for an infinite number of timelines, you know, because like at the end of the day, you can only have some like so much in that little ball that was supposed to expand it. So generally speaking, like that all made perfect sense, and the fact that it just continued to explode, and then yeah, you realize, oh fuck, he's still fucked. It was almost like in Infinity War thing, where at every corner at the end of episode 5 he loses through like everything. He just continues to lose and lose and lose until he has this realization that, oh, I have to go all the way back to Sylvie, and he realizes sooner or later that he can't just tell Sylvie, hey, you need to stop. He tries everything to get her to stop. He realizes he has to kill her. And when he realizes this, he goes and he starts, he talks to people, right? Like, this is the other thing that was fantastic, too, is he goes and he has a really good conversation with Mobius at the beginning of season 1. And I thought this was cool, too, is this is how you know that they intended to do this way, is that some of the scenes that were shot seemed like they had to be shot in congruency with season 1. So they had a clear vision all the way through episode 6 of season 2 of what exactly they were going to do, and they executed it so fucking perfectly, and that's how you do a good project. Apparently the first season was 65 million, which is nothing compared to the She-Hulk thing, and the second season was like 100 million, which is still, again, half of what She-Hulk cost, which was like a dog shit fucking show. So when you have a show that you know what you're gonna do from front to back, it ends up working. But like he has this great moment with Mobius where he's like, hey, like, you know, what would you do? And you know, it feels so genuine and so fucking interesting, and Mobius can clearly tell there's something up as well. On top of that, you know, he has a moment with Sylvie too where Sylvie says, look, you kind of got to destroy what you got to destroy, and he says, you know, what if I can replace it with something better? And that kind of implies what Loki is intending on doing to a certain degree, when really what I took that as is like, oh, you know, maybe he can replace like the timeline with something better, like, you know, maybe he can replace free will with something better. On top of that, I like the idea that Kang never really gave them an option. Like, he pretended to give them the option to just kill him, but in the end of the day, like, Loki ends up at the end where the loom bursts, and no matter what, he ends up back with Kang. And when Kang reveals that he did this time loop, and he like says like, oh, you haven't learned how to pause time yet, and then Loki pauses time, and he's like, how do you know this is the first time we haven't had this conversation? It's so fucking good. The writing in that is so fucking fantastic, because you get this like really ominous, like, an interesting bit from Kang that I didn't expect, and then you get Loki coming back with like his villainous side. Like, you could tell like, oh, Loki's angry, like he's trying to bite. Yeah, it is. It's like a chess match. 100%. And so Loki's trying to figure out everything that he can in order to get it to like fully to be able to do this and not have to take free will from everybody. You know, I the whole time was saying, look, just kill Sylvie. And this was my big beef, right? Was I thought they should have expanded in this season a little more on Sylvie and Loki's relationship, not necessarily focused on it heavily, but it felt like in this one what they did was they made Sylvie very antagonistic, and she just wanted to be on her own. She became well, and again, like, I can understand where her motives are, right? She hates the TVA, and she thinks that they're the most evil thing. Yeah, it is very selfish. I agree, and that's the thing that's like hard to side with her, is like, even if she has this like grandstand moral idea, at the end of the day, like, she's so like cunty about it, and she's so sure about it, even though we don't know what's gonna happen if the loom explodes, right? Like nobody really knows what was going to go on if like you give everybody free will. And apparently Kang didn't even really give you the option of free will to begin with, because Loki just himself there at all. So that whole thing was like really fucking interesting. But again, like it felt very, when Loki then goes and says, oh, I'm not gonna kill Sylvie, like I don't want to kill you, I can't sympathize with it nearly as much as I could have if it happened in season 6 of episode 1, right? Or of season 1. If in episode 6 of season 1 that happened, I'd be like, oh, okay, no, like I see why Loki wouldn't want to kill it. Like they have this strong relationship going on. They just kissed for the first time in the last episode or whatever the fuck. Like you can understand, I can get it now. But when this one comes around, I'm like, well, look, you're trying to save your friends. You're trying to save OB. You're trying to save your place, because that's the most beautiful thing about this, is that Loki has that great moment with Sylvie at the bar where it's such character growth, and you can see it where like she's like, what are you doing this for? And Loki breaks down and is like, I'm trying to save my friends. I'm trying to save the place that I have found, because it's almost like he's back to when he was a kid, where we see in like Thor, he's this young kid who doesn't really know what his place is. He doesn't belong in the Jotunheim. He doesn't belong as an Asgardian. And so you know, he never felt at home with Thor, even though he did feel a brother, you know, his Thor was his brother. He never really felt at home anywhere. And now he finally found a place in the TVA where he felt he was not just having friends in Mobius, people that understood him, but he was becoming something better, that he was doing something better, that he was atoning for the things that he did wrong so long in his life. And it's such a great idea that this villain can be redeemed and have such a beautiful storyline where he comes to find,
well, yeah, all the people he killed in New York in the first
he was literally genociding people, and then he comes and he becomes somebody who realizes like you can choose to do better, and he finds a greater purpose. That's the whole thing about the show, is this glorious purpose idea, and its purpose is a burden a lot of the time as well, right? Like a lot of the times things that you are that you find to be your purpose are hard to do. A lot of people don't, like, you know, it's not easy to go pull a 14-hour shift as a goddamn surgeon, but you do it because you know it's something that you can provide to the world, that is something that is good. And at the end of the day, Loki realizing that he can choose to do better. And not only that, that's what makes sense of why he might not want to kill Sylvie more, is not necessarily because he likes Sylvie, but because he sees it as like, no, I have gotten free will. I have now been able to decide to do better. I would want other people to be able to decide to do better. That makes sense to me why he might not want to kill Sylvie and choose to do something other than the loom, because, you know, killing Sylvie would only make it so that he takes over for He Who Remains and just continues removing free will until He Who Remains comes back and fights him at the end of time and tries to take over again. So that whole thing is the only thing that did kind of make that all make sense. And then we get the final Loki scene of where he says, I'm going to be the god that I was always meant to be. And he realizes his glorious purpose, and he goes out into like where the loom is, and his clothes start to tear away, revealing his underneath god form. And he breaks the loom basically with his magic, and his horns start to unveil. And as he does so, the timelines start to, you know, fall apart, and they seem to like go black. And his cape starts to meld like with the timelines, and it's almost like he starts to become one with the timelines, and he starts to grab them all together, and he walks up and he goes and sits in the throne at the end of time that He Who Remains once sat in. It becomes a golden throne that's colored in Loki's eminent green color. It's almost like the Emerald Castle at the end of time. However, instead of becoming a castle, it becomes a tree of life, where Loki is at the center of it, holding everything together, melding the multiverse together in a way that allows for infinite timelines and allows for people to have the decision that he was able to make. He found a family and a purpose that he felt was worth sacrificing his time and his eternity for. He could have tried to find a way to stay on the TVA and be with Mobius and be with his friends, or find a way to get Sylvie, find a way to do these things. But instead, he found what his purpose was, which was giving everybody the option that he didn't have before, but he finally found. And I thought that was the most beautiful fucking ending. It's so fucking good. The fact that they don't, at the end of season 1, we had, it said at the end of season, it said like, season 2 coming in 2023. There was no season 3. There is no in credit scene. We watched through the credits because we were like, oh, of course they're going to put some in. And we thought they were going to put some about Kang. Nothing. They put fucking nothing. It was absolutely glorious. It was I don't think there's a better ending other than like Infinity War and Endgame. I think that it literally rivals those projects in my opinion for that ending. That ending was so and again, it also didn't end, like Jason said earlier, on a big fight scene. It ended on just like a philosophical kind of more ideological place that's more heady, and the way that it happens is just so fucking good. So anyway, there's my rant about Loki. Loki is a top tier project, one of the best things Marvel has ever put out. Like thematically, it works perfectly. It's a beautiful show from front to back, and if you haven't seen it, I spoiled everything. Still watch it. It's still worth a watch. Anyway, if anybody else has anything to add.
I think he should have just killed Sylvie, because he just went through all these episodes and stuff where there's like multiple Sylvies, and every time Sylvie dies and then he finds another Sylvie, it's like the same Sylvie. Like
Wait,
literally in like episode 4 or something. There's like when
dies.
everyone like resets and he finds her in episode 4 and he's like, look, I have to explain everything to you. And she's like, oh, I know. I
that's
already
because
know.
she's a variant that really isn't supposed to exist, I'm pretty sure. Like, she's not supposed to be there. I don't think she died.
Yeah.
She's just like, that's
No,
the
but,
same all the way through.
Yeah, but I mean, that's like what he sees. Like, he goes to like Mobius and everyone's memories are reset, and she's just like, no, I'm still the same as always.
Yeah,
so
no, I know. Well, no, but I agree you should kill her, but I don't think there are any variants of Sylvie. I think there's just only one of her. I think that was the whole thing
really?
in season 1. They talk about that there's only one version of her, and she jumps through the timelines because there was some weird big event. She causes an excursion event every time she's like anywhere on the timeline.
I thought Sylvie was like she's not a variant of Loki.
She is a variant of Loki, but she's like as far as I remember, it was like she was some weird variant that causes an excursion event, which was like this big time explosion event anytime she's on a timeline. And so like she was not supposed to be there. So the way that I interpreted it was when Loki left at like earlier on, she just left back to her spot and she never died, or there isn't any other variants of her. That was just still her from earlier, and that's why she remembers. I don't think there is any other versions of Sylvie. Like, cause and I think that was part of like the season 1 lore.
Just like there's no other variation of of Loki.
This version of Loki, there's not supposed to be like the god of stories is only supposed to be like one. Yeah. So yeah, no, I mean, look, and that's the thing is, here's what I've said is that I can see in the distant future, and I think we talked a little bit. I hinted at this when on our conversation last episode, is that I can see in the distant future if they continue with the Kang storyline, which I wish they would, and I wish they would just stick with Jonathan Majors. He is a fantastic actor. Look, recast if you need to, but stick with the storyline, but really just stick with the fucking actor. Fuck it. The point of the matter though is I could see if in the end of like whatever this next upcoming phases are, if like Kang fights through all this and there's this big multiversal war, and then he ends up at the end of time and he tries to rip the timelines from Loki to rebuild his loom, and there's some fight between him and Loki, I could see that. Like maybe it's even like a bit, I don't know, maybe Loki doesn't age now because he's like in the middle of this tree, and so he's in a timeless position at the end of time, or maybe he does age and he's a little more like older and he's got some gray. I have no idea.
I mean, they could just de-age.
Well, I mean, I think it would be kind of cool to see Loki at the end of time with like a gray beard or something like that. That'd be kind of fucking sick. That would be cool imagery. But at the end of the day, I think that would be like, that would work. Like I could totally see that thematically. Like he comes up at the Kang comes at the end of time, tries to fight him for it. I could see that, but that can be the only time time that Loki returns. Like, you can't have Loki.
Loki's gonna become like CM Punk was in the WWE, where every single time there's a pay-per-view in Chicago,
No.
everybody's like, CM Punk's gonna be
They
there.
actually are.
No,
gonna
and
be
he's
bringing
not
him
there.
back.
No.
Kevin
don't
Feige
think-
made a statement that like he thinks Loki is their Breaking Bad, so they need to find what their better.
Are you
Saul
fucking
is.
serious? Fuck Kevin Feige. Get him out.
They need to start doing
Get him out!
spin-offs, Loki spin-offs, which I
Yeah.
guess they probably do Mobius spin-off or something.
Listen, I'm okay with Mobius. No, here's what I've said too. If they bring the TVA back and they bring like Mobius back, I'm fine with that. Even if they do make now Ravonna should be dead because Eliath technically kills all of them. That's the whole point. Eliath killed the older Loki in season 1, so like she should be dead. But at the end of the day, if she's not, like I could see Ravonna coming back and doing some shit. But generally, just you can't have Loki come back. I could even see OB coming back. Like I could see the whole TVA playing into future events, especially because the main thing is now they did tie the whole Kang variant thing in with Earth 616. They mentioned that in like the 616 timeline that there was a Kang that was causing some trouble at the end of episode 6. And on top of that, it seems like the TVA now, their whole purpose is just pruning Kangs. So they're just hunting down Kang variants and waiting for them to either become like Kangs that are dangerous or just keeping an eye on them to make sure they don't take over anything. And I think that as a purpose for the TVA works. I think if like they do that where like maybe in the future, because there's like a Kang movie, I think if the TVA is even almost like his antagonist and like they're coming after him and whatnot, like I could totally see that. What was that?
There was a Kang movie.
Oh, they canceled it?
I don't know what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
I don't know. Variety reported this morning that like they fired the writer because they're moving away from Kang,
Oh no.
which I feel like Variety's.
Dude, I hate these
accurate.
people. What's wrong with
See,
everybody?
you're.
But to be fair, the writer had never written anything, so. That's
Well, then
kind
get a
of
new writer, but don't cancel the project.
I mean, we're in
Yeah, it
phase
seems like they don't want to
5.
do Kang.
We haven't had a new Avengers movie even at the end of phase 4.
Yeah.
So now phase 5 is going to be without like a villain
And-
that's the primary like
yeah,
thing.
it's so dumb. They're gonna shoot
Like-
themselves in the foot, man.
Yeah, they're gonna fuck up.
Yeah,
I mean, they
there's
already
no
fucked up
like-
everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
There's no way to set it up successfully. Like, when is the Marvel Cinematic Films? Like, the films that they've got to set up don't. Like, Fantastic Four is May 2nd, 2025,
Yeah.
and Avengers is May 1st, 2026. So they have a year to set up Doctor Doom if that's what they want to do. And then
No,
he's in Avengers. Like,
I refuse.
and then they're gonna
I
beat
guess-
them in Avengers.
Okay, Pedro Pascal. What do you guys think? Yes, no, for Mr. Fantastic. Peter, what do you think about Mr.
Yeah,
Fantastic? Pedro Pascal.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I liked the other people they tested for the role as well.
Who did they
more.
test?
I think it was like Taron Egerton. Yeah, I was trying to find
Taron
it. I was trying to
Egerton?
find it,
Really?
but-
Oh, I don't know Egerton. I don't know how to say his name. I like him from
I mean-
The Kingsman. I don't really see him as Reed Richards.
Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Krasinski would be good.
Yeah.
Well, no. So here's something that I like actually. So Kaczynski apparently, if you look at the Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness, he's listed as a character called
Oh, yeah, he's
Maker.
in there, isn't he?
Yeah, and he's listed as a character called Maker. Maker is the evil variant of Reed Richards, and like basically Maker is like one of the biggest
So
supervillains
did Scarlet
in
Witch
the Marvel
kill all the
comics right
evil
now.
variants in that room.
What?
Well, in
No. I don't think so. I think that she would have just killed like,
was
that
evil
version of him.
Professor Xavier?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know if that was evil Professor. I have no idea. I don't know if the other ones are evil. But that character didn't seem evil yet, right?
No, I mean, he came off as very like
Menacing.
stern. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, but and here's the thing though, from what I've read, because I've read like into the Marvel
'Cause I
comics
think
stuff a
that
bit now.
makes That's I like John Krasinski as Reed Richards. I think that his look, he has the look for sure.
Well, so the
and
thing,
I think he's a decent actor.
the main thing is I like John Krasinski as like the evil version, particularly because the evil version is super intelligent, just like the regular one. But on top of that, like he takes his charm up a level and he utilizes it to manipulate people. And I get the vibe that Krasinski can have that kind of like sinister undertone to me. And so I think he could pull that off really well. The only thing thing that makes me think that Pedro Pascal could be okay, and it seems like they are saying that it's moving in that direction if his scheduling works. That's what the last reports were. But basically, the reason I could see that being okay is because he seems charming and whatnot, which is again another part of Reed Richards. So I could see him like doing that decently, but I think it's just a matter of like who the director is, how the story plays out, which like are they going straight for fucking Doctor Doom? If you do go straight for Doctor Doom, that's gonna be
evil
stupid.
Variants of Iron Man, bring Tony Stark back. Evil variants of
No,
Captain America, bring Steve Rogers back.
I'm gonna shoot myself in the fucking head. Okay.
I've got
I'm gonna shoot myself in the head.
I've got the whole report thanks to Jeff Snyder is the guy's name. So
Zack Snyder's cousin.
The Pedro Pascal stuff is off the record because he is shooting Gladiator. He's starring in Gladiator 2. And
yeah,
he's doing Last of Us 2.
Yeah, I did see that too.
Although the thing is, he's not going to be in much of The Last of Us Season 2.
Well, he'll die right away, yeah.
Yeah, so his schedule's apparently packed. And it doesn't fit in with the timeline.
That's kind of okay. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah, that's basically what I read too.
They tested.
But who else did
Jamie Dornan and Chris Abbott. Chris Abbott was
Chris Abbott.
Yeah, he's so good. He's actually
amazing.
Like.
No, I could see him doing it. I could totally see him doing
Everett?
it. Christopher Abbott.
Oh, Christopher. Yeah, Chris Everett. Well, no, what was he in?
No, did you say Christopher Abbott?
He was in. Christopher Abbott, yeah. He was in Sanctuary, which has one of my favorite performances this year.
Christopher Abbott?
No, that looks like a Reed Richards. I don't see Pedro Pascal.
Oh, he was in Possessor and whatnot. Isn't he in that one movie? Isn't he in the one movie that you like? What's the movie where they kill themselves? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's in that movie. Yeah, that's.
No, I know who he was.
Okay.
I see, him as Reed Richards. I just don't see Pedro Pascal as a Reed Richards.
Oh yeah, like I said, I can see the charming aspect of him and whatnot. But this, I could definitely. Christopher Abbott, I think, is just a really, really good actor. Like he is, he was the Possessor. Oh. He made that film. Like it's just Oh wait, is Sanctuary
that I'm reading is so sad, dude. Yeah, Sanctuary's so good.
Okay, yeah, sorry.
Marvel decided Christopher Abbott and Jamie Dornan were not big enough names. So they approached Jake Gyllenhaal. How good would Jake Gyllenhaal be?
No.
But Jake Gyllenhaal's offer was too
much.
He's too old.
Didn't Jake Gyllenhaal already do a villain?
Old, but...
Why wouldn't you have a new star?
Wait, but didn't he do fucking Mysterio or whatever?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
but we got.
That's in Sony.
No, we can't. Wait, that's in Sony? Oh.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Sony's
even though the characters are in,
but that character pulls over to Marvel. Yeah, we can't do
that.
Yeah. No, none of it has to make sense, and that's the point.
No.
Well, they did approach it,
like,
so Marvel doesn't know what they're doing. But Gyllenhaal and Adam Driver
asked
for
Jamie
too much
Dornan?
money. Yeah, Jamie Dornan. But Jamie Dornan and Christopher Abbott are not big enough names, apparently.
Yeah, no.
Jake Gyllenhaal and Adam Driver asked for too much money. Emma Stone was going to be too small.
Wait, who asked for too much money?
Jake Gyllenhaal, Adam Driver, Emma Stone.
Okay. Adam Driver.
Emma Stone.
Cool. I could see
Emma Stone would have been so fucking good.
Yeah, I could see Emma Stone. Sure. Wasn't she hasn't been in anything, so that would work for sure.
So they've got Vanessa Kirby as Sue Storm, who that's perfect.
Let's see. Have I seen this one before?
Impossible.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I could see that.
And then Ibon Mos Baccarat as Human Torch.
No. Can you spell that?
What about the thing?
EBON.
EBON.
Moss. Not normally. Hopefully it comes up.
Oh yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Okay. One. Yeah, I don't know. Who is this guy playing?
No, he looks like he was in Home Alone.
Human Torch, possibly.
Human Torch? No.
He looks like the dude from Home Alone.
Maybe it's
look
like
the dude from Home Alone. Yeah, you're right.
He's gonna
no, this guy does not look like
Kevin McAllister.
They're typing it weirdly. He's the thing.
Oh, he's the thing.
Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay, that's more sense.
He'll be in a lot of makeup.
He's the voice of the thing, probably.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense if he's the voice of it. I could see that. Dude, what is that? That looked terrible. Look at that thumbnail. Okay. Anyway.
But who was the Human
So
Torch?
Kevin Feige said
Yeah, who is the
that
Human Torch
with,
then?
I thought that was he was
the Human Torch is Joseph Quinn.
Joseph.
I've heard the name.
Yeah.
I don't see.
I don't know what you've been in.
He was in Stranger Things. He was in Game of Thrones.
Okay, yeah, Stranger Things. Gotcha. He's gonna be in
Oh,
Gladiator
he's
too.
the cringe guy that no one likes in Stranger Things.
Yeah, base. That's the guy
How
you
are we
need to
getting
get
a
on.
sequel to the Gladiator? I just don't
Nobody
understand.
fucking knows, Jason. This is what we've all been asking for about 3 months now. Okay,
We can get onto
nobody
that.
fucking knows.
I feel like
But yeah, Kevin
Pedro
Feige
Pascal hears a
said-
stupid idea and he's just like, I'll do it.
Who's even directing this shit? Why is Ridley Scott doing this? Fucking stick
Well, he
to your
did the first
Napoleon
one.
shit.
No, he did. The
I
first
don't
Kevin
care.
Feige-
Don't do a sequel.
No, I
Fucking,
don't
I
think
figured
he
he'd
should
have
do-
some.
No, but he
I
thinks
figured
it's a
he'd have
good cast grab.
decency. Anyway.
The
That's
money-
because they have Denzel.
The
Yeah.
money
As a
was one
former
issue,
slave.
but the other.
Yo, that's fucked up. That's crazy.
The other thing is that they
Yeah,
didn't want to
go
be too white. Feige
based.
says.
Based. Oh, they got Jumon Hansu, a former Gladiator. Great. Oh, fucking. Why is
It's
wait? Pedro
sounds
Pascal's
like
like
they're gonna delay it.
7th cast here on the fucking Gladiator thing. I doubt he's
Maybe
gonna have
'cause he
that.
doesn't- Nobody knows what his character's gonna be.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. That's true.
yeah, I think he has a major role though.
Okay.
I
All right.
think.
Well, yeah. Anyway. So yeah,
I mean,
Marvel
honestly,
is.
it seems like Ridley Scott is going out and
Uh-huh.
he's just doing whatever the fuck he wants to do.
Yeah, he
Like
is the
he just
Napoleon
announced
shit.
his next
and-
film.
yeah.
He announced his next film coming out like 2025 is a bucket list film, and I was thinking, all of the films he's doing recently are bucket list films. Like I feel like Gladiator 2, he's just wanted to do, and he's like, I'm 86 or whatever. I'm just gonna fucking do Gladiator 2.
Why?
Gladiator
though?
1 ended so beautifully.
know.
He literally
just
dies and
ended.
goes to heaven with his family.
Yeah,
It's
I'm so
great.
It's like a
lost.
completely,
Oh, he
it's
did
like a
House of
completely
Gucci?
separate story, I think, as well.
Oh, that movie I heard is terrible.
Really? No, I heard it was good.
Oh, I don't know.
It was bad because Kevin Spacey was the star.
Jared Leto.
Oh,
they had to
wait,
recast
not
it.
Jared Leto.
Yeah, his acting is
no.
absurd.
Oh well, of course, anything with Jared Leto is dog shit.
Mm.
But it has Robert De Niro. But yeah, if it has Jared Leto, then he's terrible. It's gotta be a
That's
terrible.
Robert
movie.
De Niro.
Yeah, that's what it said. Robert De Niro's name was.
Jared Leto was good in Gladiator. I think it was Jared Leto, right? Oh no, it was Joaquin Phoenix. Oh my god, all these Jokers are the same, man.
Yeah. Robert. Oh, why?
I don't fucking know, man. Okay. Anyway, I don't know if he might have dropped out. Oh, why is Jeremy Irons here? Well,
He
now I
hates-
have
he
to.
hates his
But I have
career.
to see if that was Jeremy Irons. Okay. I'm sorry.
I mean, I'm
Maybe
sure they
something.
thought it was going to be
I'll have to
good,
watch
but-
this,
I mean,
yeah.
I don't understand that. I feel like when you get that many top like A-list actors on board on something that turns out to be dog shit,
Yeah.
it's like something must be going on, right? You're like, why would you just do it because your friend asked you to at that point?
I mean, it could also. A lot of times, shit gets butchered in the edit. 61% isn't bad,
Okay,
but a lot of shit gets butchered in the edit. 83% from
they
audiences.
had an Oscar buzz. That's why I was like,
Okay, well, audiences seem to like it, but 61%. But a lot of shit does get butchered in. Oh my god, yeah, we have to tell you a big news thing actually that I totally forgot that I just remembered. But it can be butchered in the editing. And speaking of editing, Peter, have you heard of the show Ridiculousness?
oh wait, no, we can't say anything.
Yeah, we
Kind
can.
of.
We didn't sign an NDA.
Oh, okay. I
Yeah.
just want to make sure.
Yeah, we didn't sign an NDA. So Ridiculousness is a show that is hosted by Rob Deerdick. Deerdick?
Yeah.
Deerdeck?
Dear Deck.
Okay, Dear Deck, not Dear Dick. And basically, they like go and they review. They'll take like a panel of a couple celebrities and they'll review clips from online. And so Jason got a comment, or I got a random email saying like, "Hey, we're from Ridiculousness and we want to use your clip," and it links to this video that had like 75 likes. And I was like, "Really?" But it's a good video. It's a funny joke. And basically, I'm like, oh, well, okay, what the fuck? And the email said, we DM Jason from our like Instagram account, so that way you know that it's like legitimate. And I was like, Jason, and I just texted Jason, like, just go onto your Instagram. Do you have a message from Ridiculousness? The account, is it verified, and how many followers does it have? And he was like, yeah, it has 1.8 million followers. And so basically, they offered us a bit of a small licensing agreement in order to potentially utilize the clip on the show. And it's basically, the joke is where Jason's sitting back on the couch and he goes, you know, women belong in the kitchen if they're a chef. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. And I dap him up, basically. And so there's this kind of moment where you pause and you're like, oh, why could you say that? And then he kind of saves it. I'm like, oh, yeah, you saved it. And so, yeah, basically we got reached out, and that's going to potentially make it over on the show. We'll know about it. Obviously, Hollywood things take long periods of time. So we'll know in about, like, if it does end up in the final cut and the final edit, we'll know in about like 6 months or so. So, but we signed the agreement. And yeah, it's pretty dope that we Smokin Sessions LLC has had their first licensing agreement. So shout out the people from Ridiculousness. They're very easy to work with as well. So
Yeah,
they were very nice.
To respond.
Yeah, very quick, very professional people. And yeah, and they really like tried hard. They reached out to us on like 3 different emails. They they searched through Jason to because Jason doesn't check his like Instagram DMs and stuff. So they
I don't know if it was like a team or one person like that, but they're a heck.
So they found out that like he was associated with Smokin Sessions, and then they reached out to like our like website shop, as well as they reached out to me directly through my YouTube.
That don't even know any of this stuff.
So yeah, they reached out to they really searched through it. So yeah, shout out. They were good people.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Good people.
So yeah, that was pretty exciting, and that was a recent bit of news.
Did you see Madam
I
Web's
caught up
trailer?
on. Yep, I saw Madam Web's trailer. I saw. There's so many trailers. I watched Goosebumps.
There are a lot of trailers. Oh yeah. You watched Goosebumps, so you know
guys watched the new episode?
Yeah, we watched the newest episode. It was very weird.
Yeah. I felt like it. So first of all,
yeah,
like with the Goosebumps episode, real quick.
Yeah.
I knew Fifi the dog from when I was a kid because I had all the Goosebumps books.
Sure.
And so as soon as I saw the dog, I was like, wait, and I saw the dog's name was Fifi. I was like, oh, okay. I think I remember that dog as a book, and that sure enough, it's a Goosebumps book.
Yep.
But that was kind of a cool little Easter egg thing there.
And then the dog comes to life.
Yeah. I don't know if you want to talk about the Madam Web trailer first or the Goosebumps episode.
I mean, we're already in Goosebumps now. We might as well hit Goosebumps first, and then we can talk about it one.
I personally, for the Goosebumps episode,
real quick, because he hadn't watched up to the episode before this.
Oh, that's right. That's
remember?
True. Yeah.
So and for us, it took a massive turn on the episode before this previous one. So what did you think about how it kind of went?
What part of the thing did it turn for you guys? Was it just that there was more episodes?
So the idea that I didn't like is that when we
I thought it was a disappointing ending.
When we get to the end of it, Slappy, they had this whole thing where Slappy is supposed to be some like big imminent villain, but they never set up why we should really be scared of him. The entire time, the only thing they set up is that this kid is obsessed with him, and so this kid is obviously, I mean, he's dead, so the only thing he can do is like operate through the body of this other guy in order to try to harm people, which like I guess is like, okay, that's how Slappy's evil. But realistically, at the end of the day, like they made it seem like Slappy had some sort of larger like villainous goal where like Slappy was gonna take over the world or something. The stakes were high, but there was no stakes.
Was this goal even said?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's like that's what ruined it for me. Is I was like, wait a minute, this whole time, why are we supposed to
powers
even?
From what
and all you have to do is pull him apart and put him in a bag. But then now all of a sudden he can pull himself together. I don't know.
I know we asked this question before, but what do you think the goal is? Or do you didn't hear a goal either?
Yeah,
like I thought. I don't know whether it's because I like sort of had an idea of Slappy already, but I just thought he was never going to really do anything, and that he was just this weird like obsession that the kid had. I'm surprised more than anything that he has a body now and has spells and stuff. I did
No,
not.
that's also weird. So when we go
He's
into
a
the new
wizard.
episode, yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that there's this weird fucking paranormal. And so, like, what, now he's going to be a demon who can take over the world through his epic spells? Like, what the fuck are we? It feels like they're setting up these
Yeah.
stakes. But then at the same time, like, because he keeps saying, like, oh, I'm going to
What's the
give you an
stakes?
ending
Is
to
he
your
gonna
book.
just take out the town?
Yeah, but how is
Yeah,
he
he
going to
does.
take out the town? But
The
how?
premise of like episode 10 is like they return to the town realizing that everyone is dead and blah 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 blah. Like,
What?
so it sounds like that's yeah.
But it
I mean,
feels
that
all
would
so
be a hell of a
random and
twist.
abrupt,
Like you
though.
just all of a sudden that everyone returns. And
I mean,
everybody's
listen,
just
They
but
have to,
that
like,
feels pretty
kill
random and
Slappy.
abrupt.
They probably just rock back up and everyone's puppeted by his spell, and then
I
they
mean,
have to
that'd be
kill
creepy.
Slappy to break the
To
curse.
do it,
Visually,
I
that
mean,
could be
that would be
creepy.
creepy, yeah. But like, how? Why? I don't
The
understand
thing
why
is, like,
Justin Long had this a change of
episode
heart all of a sudden either so quickly. He's just like, yeah, now I'm gonna use
Slappy
Slappy,
would
Yeah.
have an army of dummies.
even though they went through all this shit
episode
to stop this. Yeah,
episode 9 is like what I expected when you say like Disney Plus is making a Goosebumps show.
yeah,
Yeah.
Like, this is the quality I expected. So overall, with Goosebumps, I'm glad we got like a solid 8 episodes that were actually decently well written before we got this shit. I hope that if they do more seasons, they continue on that stuff. I don't know why this like random plot has come about, but at the same time, it's weird because episode 8 was like a disappointing finale. So the premise of episode 9 of like we need a better ending, it needs to be more wacky.
that's what it felt
I
like. Yeah,
kind of get, but like
but then at the same time,
the
it's like
meta
it
way
didn't
they're
feel
doing it
earned.
isn't working.
Well, and it
Yeah,
also
like,
feels
it's
like
not
they
landing.
didn't have it planned out. It does feel random. Like when we get to the end and he's thrown away,
It's like they
it feels
got
like
an
that's
8
the
episode
end.
order,
Yeah, because
Yeah.
and then Disney was like,
they
"That
must
was
We
good.
need
Do
two
2
more.
more
We
episodes."
can't end
Yes.
it like that. Like the season
Yes.
finale, I could see is like, "Oh, I've been waiting for you," or "What took you so long?" Is what Slappy says, and then
Yeah.
it's like that.
How did he
feels
know
like
that
a
he
season
was gonna come
finale
down there?
cliffhanger that you wait till second season.
Yeah,
or
for sure. Like
season
maybe the
is.
ghost didn't actually die and he comes back or something.
But
I
they
don't fucking
probably
know.
got cold feet and they're like, "We can't do that. We have to finalize the story or something." I don't know.
Maybe.
Honestly, like
Yeah.
it's kind of cringe, but what they should have done is they should have just ended with episode 8, skip to years later, have it like in longer episodes, show like people moving on with their lives, and then
Yeah.
have Justin Long approach Slappy and Slappy say, "I was waiting for you," and ending it there to do season 2 next year. You would have people come up with their own theories, and the writers could have just looked at like what the most popular theory on Reddit was that explains it, and
Yeah, it
done
would have
that.
been better
Like,
than what they got.
it's a
Yeah.
cringe way to do it, but like I
It's
know a lot
better
of
than what they
shows
got.
of that level, like teen shows that end on cliffhangers, and then they see what people think, and then they go,
There
"That's a good
are,
idea.
yeah.
Let's do that."
Yeah, there
Yeah.
are
They should
plenty
have
of
just done
those.
that.
Yeah, to gauge the audience's response essentially. and then-
Yeah, 100%. Because yeah, the entire thing just feels so random, and yeah, like it's so abrupt. Like, hey, we need to just have this ending in there, and it feels
Yeah.
like 8 was the end. And yeah, they were like, nope, we need to. Disney doesn't know if we're gonna get a season 2. We don't know, so we're just gonna end it. Put out the money. We're gonna shell out to episode 10 and fuck it. Which what I would have preferred is if they just like let the Slappy thing in and then go into season 2 and maybe even don't even have
Well, is
Slappy
there
come back
supposed to
right
be a
away.
second season?
Well, I don't know, but there's
Is that
plenty of
maybe why
Goosebumps stuff
they're
to
like,
cover.
okay, we gotta end it because we
Disney-
Maybe.
second season.
But there's plenty of
Disney-
Goosebumps books to cover. Yeah,
Disney Plus adaptations do not seem to get cancelled. It's like the opposite of
They
the
do
old
seem to
Disney
get more,
XD
yeah.
thing, where they will just do more
it's not like
seasons.
Netflix. Yeah, there seems to always be season
Well,
2s.
yeah, I don't know. Why
But
that
like
doesn't
generally,
exist.
I think that they could have again. There's a bunch of books to do for Goosebumps. I think
Oh,
that they
yeah,
could
there's
have
plenty.
easily just
Yeah.
had that be the end for Slappy for now. If you want to have like a long running Slappy thing, you can do that. But have season 2 come back in and just go back to doing maybe some more like book focused stuff, a little more like episode by episode, and rather than a serial thing.
I mean, I definitely didn't expect them.
Love to see them do
what
anthologies.
they did.
Yes,
which
I
was a
would
more
love to
mature
see an
thing.
anthology.
I didn't expect. I thought this show was going to be absolute dog shit.
No, I'm
And
I'm
then-
still happy that like you
so-
said, Peter, that we did get the first for me. I thought episode 8 was kind of weak, so I'm gonna say episodes. We got
Yeah.
7 super solid episodes. We
Yeah.
got 7
Mhm.
super solid episodes, and I'm happy with that because I thought there was gonna I was with you too. I thought it was gonna be dog shit through and through. So hey, I'm happy.
I'd
to
really
at least
like
that.
if season 2 was like just anthology episodes longer, but like not trying to connect like all of the different stories to
100%.
one town. Like just do
Yeah.
your own things for
Yeah.
each individual one. I also found out that when Justin Long goes to get slappy and he's listening to that podcast,
Yeah.
Oh, it's R.L.
about like
Stein.
this is how you're. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yep.
pretty
Yeah,
dope.
I thought that was a cool Easter egg.
Yeah, that's
too.
pretty dope. I didn't know that. That's pretty sick.
And apparently he was quoting R.L. Stein from the Sony Goosebumps movie,
Okay.
like Jack Black's character.
Oh, that's funny.
Apparently.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing in the movies that I liked was the beef between Stephen King and fucking R.L. Stein. That was like funny bits they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really funny. But yeah, no, I thought it was decent.
'Cause I thought,
So
if anything, if they were going, when I heard they were going to do a Goosebumps
Uh-huh.
show, I thought it was going to be more of like a book based on each episode.
yeah, I did too. Well, no, it's an anthology. I thought it was gonna be an anthology thing, and it should have been more of an anthology thing. But we are
Yeah.
about 2 hours into this episode, so let's go ahead and hit a Madam Web discussion quickly, and then we'll have to call it there. We're probably gonna try to come back on Friday for some further discussion. We have we haven't watched The Killers yet, as well as The Creator. We have both of those things in the bank that we're gonna be watching here.
The David Fincher, the killer, or the killers?
Yes, so there's The Killer. Oh, The Killer, David Fincher, Netflix. We haven't watched that yet. We have that in the bank. And then Denzel, or not Denzel, fucking John David Washington.
Yep.
Yeah, he is.
The
He
creator.
had that creator. Yeah, the creator sci-fi film. So we have both of those in the tank that we are going to be witnessing here soon. But Madam Web, I really didn't know what to think about Madam Web from this trailer. It was a long
Sony
trailer, but we didn't. What?
Sony sucks.
Sony
Sony's
does
dropped
suck.
3 back-to-back Ghostbusters, which I don't think we talked about, Garfield, and now Madam Web trailers,
Mm.
and like
The
What
Ghostbusters
is going on?
trailer was
Ghostbusters,
okay.
and I liked the Garfield trailer.
it was.
I thought the Ghostbusters trailer was okay. I didn't like Paul Rudd at the end. I like the villain of the Ghostbusters thing.
I like
Uh,
what they're trying to do,
Paul
but
Rudd's
it
freaking
just
annoying. And I'm
Yeah,
done
Paul
with
Rudd's
Paul
super
Rudd.
annoying. Yeah, I agree. I when it comes to Garfield, I like the Garfield one. I'm not going to cap either. Yeah, I like the Garfield one.
no.
Yeah. Yeah,
Chris
what,
Pratt
what's your
can't
beef
get
with
away
Garfield?
with this.
No,
What's your-
I mean,
Oh, hold on. No. Now we're on the same page. Chris Pratt is dog shit.
As Mario.
He's
Yeah.
no, he's dog shit as Mario, and he's dog shit as Garfield. He is only Chris Pratt. He's not doing any voice acting. He's
He
literally
doesn't
just
do any
going
voice
in. No, he just goes in and reads the lines, and we go from Bill Murray, who was like a really good Garfield in the live action one for the voice, and then we go and
well,
we
that's
get
'cause
this
he
dog
sounded
shit.
more. Bill Murray sounded closer to the cartoon Garfield.
Sure,
that
yeah.
guy that came out in like the 90s.
Well, I know, and that's what Chris Pratt should be doing. He should be doing voice acting.
Well, he doesn't.
But he doesn't.
Voice act.
I know, and he didn't do it for
I mean,
Mario,
he
and he
has
didn't
his
do it for
voice,
this.
but he doesn't
No, he
act.
doesn't do it. Yes, so yeah, no. So
But
I fully
still
agree
like
with
it 'cause
you.
Sam Jackson's a big giant
So
cat. and it's
yes, that's the thing. I wanted it to be animated. I didn't want another live action Garfield, and I like the Samuel L. Jackson edition. I like the addition of seeing Garfield as a kitten. It was really cute, and
It's
you
got
get
some good
even
humor in it.
it's got some good humor, and you even get a nice moment between like John and Garfield, which usually it's all just beef between them. So you get to see him like picking him up as a kitten and all that. That's really cute. Now he starts to love lasagna and stuff. There's a lot of it that I thought works very well, but I will fully agree with you that Chris Pratt cannot keep getting away with it. He is a dog shit. He's not a voice actor. He's dog shit, and he should stop getting roles
Yeah,
immediately.
I like him in movies, but not.
Yeah,
in
get
animated
him back into another Jurassic Park. I don't fucking know.
movies. Yeah,
Yep.
no, let's not do that.
Yeah, do
I
that.
saw it was going viral. Someone leaked, or like an insider was like, the Madam Web trailer will feature Sydney Sweeney in the black and white Spider-Man outfit, and my whole timeline was just everyone
no.
like, "Oh my
Yeah,
god, that's
the
amazing!"
image.
Oh no.
Yeah, I wonder why.
People think she's hot. For some.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
I
already
mean,
pre-ordered my tickets.
is it Dakota Johnson, right?
Yeah, Dakota
I
Johnson.
like Dakota Johnson as
Dakota
an
Johnson as
actress.
well.
And then I don't know
She ruined her career by doing 50 Shades.
the
It's
other two.
hard to like
don't
her
know if
after
I
those
know.
films. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. Listen, I don't have any
I have not-
dislike for her from that, but
What's that one movie
yeah.
where
I
they're
have
on
not
like the border,
seen.
the line?
I've never
There's a
seen.
hotel. There's a hotel.
the Royal El Royal Hotel or something.
Yeah,
like
that one is like one to see. If
So,
you haven't
something
seen
at
it.
the El Royale, something. Yeah.
I've never seen Sydney Sweeney in anything. I've just seen
okay.
everyone simping for her for like
well,
2 years straight.
Jason
Yeah.
saw her in White Lotus. I watched some of Euphoria.
Yeah,
Before
she
you
was
said-
good in White Lotus. That was my first encounter.
I watched
Okay,
a
good.
Little
with
White
Sydney
Lotus.
Sweeney.
I watched a Little White Lotus. It was good. She's good.
Yeah,
I think
she's
Dakota
she's
Johnson is also
yeah,
good.
actress. There
Like-
was some like hour and a half movie about some like military type thing that she was.
No, that was
reenacting.
terrible. I
That was
hated that.
terrible.
That was so bad. It was supposed to be something that
she's a good
there was a
actress,
leaker.
though. She's got
No,
talent.
she's a good actress. Yeah, I think she does get overly sexualized, which is sad because she does have like good acting skills. But I think the reason she gets overly sexualized is because she does play sexualized roles. So I mean, it's kind of
Well,
you
she's
know,
in a
two-way
massive
street.
like Australian film coming out where that is the role that she plays as well. I think
Well, that's
so.
what she's been
there's some
typecast as
controversy
because of
with that
Euphoria.
film, too.
Well, in
Oh, really?
Euphoria, she played like this whore that like basically took everybody's boyfriend, so she kind of got typecast as that. But what's the
Well, that was the one where she might have broken up a marriage or something.
what?
That she might have slept with
Really?
her co-star.
Aced. Good for her.
Remember H3? Olivia.
Oh, I
talked about
kind of
H3?
remember. Yeah, I kind of remember. Good for her. You know,
yeah.
you're young, break up a
Yeah,
marriage.
I don't really care.
He's,
It's like-
Break a
He's
marriage
fine.
or two, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, listen, if some guy fucking cheated on his wife, that's on him. He's a
Ain't my
piece of shit.
business.
Fuck that guy. Yeah, fuck that guy. He's a piece of shit. What do you want me to say?
If
But-
DiCaprio can get away with sleeping with women like
No,
25 years younger
DiCaprio
than
shouldn't
him,
be
then
getting
she
away with
can
anything.
Sleep with whoever she wants.
Like, what's the last what's the last best? Oh, I know. I guess he just put out Killers of the Flower Moon. I haven't seen it yet. I don't know if that performance allows him to fuck 25-year-olds though. I don't know. He needs to put out another
He shouldn't
Titanic
be
in
allowed
order
to.
to get that. No, you need another Titanic in order to get that privilege.
The villain in Madam Web, I don't know.
No, so
Oh,
this is my beef with the trailer.
I
didn't
thought
really
it was
get
Adam
much of it.
Driver. I was like, I had to keep looking and making
Really?
sure. Yeah, I don't know why I kept thinking it was Adam Driver.
I don't really. I mean, I'd have to look at his face again. Here's the thing: it was a 3-minute trailer,
Or the
and I
creepy
really
man
didn't
and,
get much out of it other than like Dakota Johnson sees the future, and it's kind of like a web, and there's a guy that's like dangerous, and so she teams up with these 3 girls. I don't know what the villain is, what the stakes are, why they're doing what they're doing, why she went to get these 3 girls
Well, apparently
specifically.
the villain can mess with the timeline.
There's a multiverse,
Yeah.
so there's this
They
multiverse
can
thing
both
going
see the
on.
future.
Well, yeah, there's this multiverse thing going on where like a multiverse is kind of like a
This
spider
is in
web
the
is how it's kind
Morbius
of described.
World, though. The Morbius.
I
and
know,
Venom
and
world.
Venom. Okay, I get it.
Venom.
Kill yourself.
And
Venom.
probably
You
Spider-Man.
suck. No, we're not talking
Yeah,
about that.
nah.
It's in Marvel. It's
Tom
just
Holland,
everything.
run
We
as
don't
far
think
as
about
way,
that.
far away as you can before your
Okay.
career ends.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
Anyway, I refuse to believe that Spider-Man is tied to Venom or any of those other things. So I'm just putting that out there.
But
Outside
the
of that,
trailer just it felt like, hey, here's the 4 spider
Spider
women.
bitches.
Yeah.
Women.
That's probably the porno. Spider
Yeah,
bitches.
Spider bitches.
Or Mistress Web. But basically, yeah, it just showed them, and then it kept showing the villain throughout. And then yeah, there wasn't much there though. I mean,
For 3 minutes. I don't
yeah.
get how they spent 3 minutes with not really doing much.
I felt bored, honestly. I was just like, okay, this is a thing.
Yeah, it's not that well of an
because we
edited
knew
trailer.
about Sydney Sweeney playing Spider-Girl.
Yeah, it's
so-
not very well edited. That's
Yeah.
the biggest issue, I think. It's like it's weirdly paced, and I
Is
think like
Venom well
already
edited?
a 3 minute. No, but I'm talking about the trailer, dude.
Oh,
Just
no,
the
no.
trailer.
Oh, yeah, no, it's supposed to get you excited. It doesn't get.
Yeah,
you
no, I
excited.
know. It's like it's 3 minutes long. Like usually you make it
Well, I
about 2
mean,
minutes. Like
this is
it
like-
meanders.
This must be a Sony thing because I remember pausing the Ghostbusters trailer multiple times and being like, why have they edited like some of the editing choices are just so weird. Like they
Yeah.
edited multiple scenes together in a very weird way,
Yeah.
which is like a classic thing, but trailers have moved away from doing that. Like, but Ghostbusters was intercutting scenes to like put words together, and I was like, why are we?
No, I know,
Why
dude.
are
Yeah,
we
they
doing
used to
that?
do that in the '90s when they're like, "Come this summer," but it's like we don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, Madam Web, same thing. So I guess Sony's trailer editors are not great, but like
Yeah, they
Craven,
chose,
Madam Web, like
Craven,
least they're doing stuff.
Craven is the
Johnson
only
is,
thing that
uh,
I'm hyped for because
good
is it
actor.
rated R?
Yeah.
If it's rated R and it's I love Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's amazing.
Well, you can't do Craven PG-13.
No, you can't.
It's too bloody.
Well, I know, but that's why I'm so, like obviously I could see Sony trying to, but as long as they don't, then yeah, like Aaron Taylor
Like-
Johnson is amazing. So I'm so down.
I'm hoping that Madam Web's good. I mean, I think it's a first time director.
No,
that
obviously.
she
Yeah.
like it's good to give get a female-centric
sometimes,
film
like,
with a female director.
Yeah, and
Yeah, of
some
course.
movies that turn out to be great have first horrible trailers.
They do, 100%.
Yeah.
And again, I always even if something I think looks like it sucks, I always hope for a movie to be good. I never want like people put their time. It's not just one director or one actor or whatever. Like these large teams of people put in so much time and effort to make these things come to life, and that's
the second
why
they show Sydney Sweeney swinging around,
It's over.
people are like, "Oh, I gotta see this movie."
I got a smasher, yay!
What?
That's what they're gonna say, and then they're gonna go get Sydney Sweeney sex dolls.
No, and just like, hey,
And
I
I dress
wonder
her
if this
Spider-Man outfits,
if she's
and
gonna
it's just a sad
encounter-
truth
Well,
of life.
are the Tom
Sorry.
Holland Spider-Man and Madam Web, are they on the same Earth?
Yes,
Okay, it's 616. Is that?
I believe. No, well, that's the
Who's
thing.
the-
Is technically,
who's
if
the-
they are, then they're technically supposed to be in the universe of Marvel, because Marvel is 616. So I don't think Sony is supposed to use the term 616, are they?
I don't know.
Well, because
I
I'm
don't know.
pretty sure that's supposed to refer to the Marvel universe as 616. So I don't know.
I think
if they're...
within like 18 months, we're going to see a Spider-Man trailer where he's just disconnected because I don't think Marvel's coming back to the table anymore.
Like mentally disconnected. He's just like, I'm done.
Yay, like disconnected from
They're
Marvel.
just gonna
or
like,
are we-
yeah, disconnected from.
I mean, I don't
I
know
can't
who
see them
owns it.
setting up X-Men
I just don't see
and
how-
Fantastic Four.
Does Sony just
and
own it
then
outright, or how does
Sony owns Spider-Man still? Yeah,
Yeah.
just
as long as
outright?
they
Yeah,
keep
they
making
rent it
films.
out.
But
But
they
they
just
have to. They have to
so
make
they
a
bought
film
the rights
by
outright a while ago.
2026.
Or they can lose the.
No, they've got-
license.
It's the same thing as like the old rights, like Hulk and stuff. But if they don't make a Spider-Man film by like 2026 or something, they lose the rights. I think is how it still works. But they will just make a Tom Holland Spider-Man, and they'll just be like, "Oh yeah, we'll just include Madam Web and Craven and whatever into this film." And like, because I don't think the deal that they had previously, Marvel's going to accept when they've got X-Men and Fantastic Four now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and I like Venom in the comic books, and I like him in
Yeah.
the video game. Amazing, I Spider-Man 2. He's great. I've always liked Venom, but I do not like Tom Hardy as Venom. I like Tom Hardy as an actor. I just don't think he fits that
Same.
role. And
never liked
obviously
the
Jared Leto as
Venom
Morbius is
films.
just stupid. I don't know who came up with that casting,
I
but they should be
think-
fired off every project.
I think the fact that they have the rights to a lot of stuff, but they're specifically making like Spider-esque films, they're just going to do a lot of stuff there. I mean, they'll probably just do Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland and a Miles Morales and do that.
So it looks like Spider-Man made his first appearance in Amazing Fantasy Volume 1, Issue 15, which was co-written by the late Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. Last month, Ditko's estate filed a notice of termination, which would revert the ownership of Spider-Man back to Ditko's family. So basically, Sony has had an iron grip on it, but apparently Sony and just general Marvel Disney could lose overall the
That
ability
won't
to
go
use
through,
it
though.
to Ditko.
Yeah,
that would be
I
interesting.
feel like
We'll
the
just sell it to the
courts
highest
won't let that
bidder,
go through.
right? So then
Potentially, it
Spider-Man could be owned
depends.
by
Depends.
Netflix.
Say that again.
Spider-Man could be
If
owned
Steve
by
Ditko,
Netflix.
if Steve Ditko's thing goes through, Steve Ditko would technically have the ability, or his estate would have the ability to then license it out or sell it to whomever they please.
Can you imagine a Netflix Spider-Man?
I mean, would they? I don't think they'd license it out to Netflix. That would be a weird one.
I mean,
to
the
go
highest
for.
bidder, right? That's probably.
I mean, Netflix is going to be the
has more
highest
money than
bidder.
Disney.
Nah.
Well, Netflix has more
nah.
money than Disney, and WB.
Netflix. How much money does Netflix have? They have more money than Disney
Netflix
altogether.
Probably
I think
could.
so.
Yeah.
Netflix
spending
out as
on-
Disney.
There's been rumors
Like
that Netflix
all of
could
Disney.
buy Disney.
Like Disney as an entire company, not as just the film
No,
part.
but like Disney film would never spend that
Yeah,
much
that's what I'm
money.
talking about. Okay, obviously.
Like
when I
Netflix
say
film
Disney, I'm
spending
talking
is
about the whole
higher.
company. But okay,
But no,
so,
like they would definitely like the Coyote versus Acme thing.
yeah.
Looks like it's going to Netflix because they're just
Oh,
bidding
yeah.
more than
No,
the
for
other
sure.
studio.
And
No,
I'm
that
excited
would
to see that
sure.
film because John
That I
Cena
can see.
can't fail, and that's why I gotta support it.
But when it comes to Spider-Man, that seems like it's a thing that Disney would throw every single thing behind to get. It's
Oh,
like
yeah,
one of the
absolutely.
most important. So like they would move money from other parts of their company in Disney, and Disney as a whole, as a conglomerate, can pretty much smash almost anything other than the other like
Ooh.
big 5 companies. In the
Oh yeah,
fucking
yeah.
world.
Netflix is worth
Ooh.
more than Walt Disney Corporation.
in its entirety.
In entirety.
How much is it worth?
But their market
Walt
cap is
Disney's
higher, but like they don't have.
167 billion, and Netflix is 212 billion.
Yeah, but they don't have that cash on hand.
Yeah, I'd have to see how much is realized for that.
202 billion, but it'd be probably
The
the
Netflix does
evaluation.
make.
Yeah, well, that's
make a chunk of that.
that's only.
Netflix has a
Oh, well,
higher
we're only talking
peak
about no.
than
You're sorry.
Disney
That's
right
market evaluation.
Yeah, but that's still.
Well, we're not talking about that's not money that they have. That's just literally the evaluation from the public. So that wouldn't really doesn't give us much.
But to be fair, in the terms of Ditko, they
that
could
also
do a
dictates
stock
how
deal,
high
so
the
the market
stock price
value
is.
is. Yeah, they could just give Ditko stock or Ditko's estate stock.
Okay, so they have 7.86
slightly.
billion cash on hand. They could do stock to a certain degree, 100%, but cash on hand is
That's
7.86 billion.
Netflix.
Netflix, yeah. I'm curious how much Disney has.
It's crazy because Netflix spends, I think, 11 or 12 billion a year on content. So the fact they have money and spend that much is fucked.
Yeah, that is insane. Okay,
It's
Disney has
crazy they haven't gone
14.8.
under.
So they have 14.18 bill on hand cash. So Disney has about twice as much cash on hand. Market valuation, though, they can offer people stocks, but usually, like when you're offering them already at such an inflated value, it can be a little difficult to get people on board for that. But it depends on how much you're offering them.
Arguably,
Obviously, you don't
Netflix
know.
may be undervalued now, but that's
But yeah, I don't know. But they burn
the
how much money? That's the thing. Yeah, and so that's why it is weird they have
yeah.
7 billion
But
on
if
hand
they,
because they burn so
if
much.
if Netflix was going to fail, their stock dropped to like fucking nothing in 2020, but they've bounced all the way
Oh.
back. So I feel like they're not going to fail. The Disney thing, apparently people are pushing Bob Iger to buy Electronic Arts
Oh, really?
before
They're
he
pushing.
leaves.
Okay, that would be an
Yeah.
interesting acquisition.
The,
Although EA fucking sucks, but
The stockholders have said that Marvel games and stuff and Star Wars
Yeah.
games like should be made by Disney,
okay.
and they have cash on hand, so they want.
Well, I
No,
thought-
that would
well,
make sense.
EA is already losing the Star Wars license. They've already lost
Yeah,
it.
yeah, they
next
are.
year. But
Yeah, but
I think
mean,
EA
they
is
buy
just the
it
one
and they
studio
just
that-
give it to
Madden, and then they're also losing the NFL license, so that won't be worth.
No, but
anything
I think what
because-
they're looking at is that if they bring EA under their wing, that they can provide them the Star Wars.
Well, they just want their
license.
footing in the video games.
Well, exactly,
market.
but basically the way they're looking at it, I'm sure, is that they've already made a couple of successful Star Wars games.
Yeah.
So if they bring them under their wing, then they can have them operate directly
Yeah.
under them rather than
Well, I
paying
think
them
There's a Star
outsource
Wars
money.
Outlaws game is looks really
Yeah,
good.
what is
like,
who's making that?
EA.
Okay, so it is still
when
EA.
they're
So
they
Ubisoft.
basically when they're about to lose the license, then they start making good games.
well,
Outlaws is
yeah,
Ubisoft.
but then what was that? Outlaws is Ubisoft.
Outlaws is Ubisoft.
Got
okay.
it. Okay.
Okay, well,
cool.
so then
But,
they
like,
did lose the license.
The issue that
sure.
they have is like Ubisoft is family owned, so they can't buy that. All of the
Yeah.
Japanese companies have like
Yeah.
bits in their stock, so you can't buy them. So
Yeah.
EA like they can't buy Take-Two because Rockstar just would not.
No,
like, they
Rockstar would
make too
never
much
let it
money.
happen. And also,
So
Rockstar
EA
is
is
too
probably the only
controversial for them to
company-
buy. Yeah.
Yeah, EA is like the main one they could buy, and EA has a lot of mobile games, so I think
makes
that's
sense.
mainly what Disney's looking at.
Yeah, no,
the
that
one
well,
other
because
thing-
also they do the Marvel like mobile games as well, so that would make sense if they try to bring more mobile under their wing.
Yeah, the one other thing I did see. Did you guys see the Game Awards?
We
yeah.
voted.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Did you vote Starfield RPG of the Year?
Oh, yeah.
Of course,
Yeah.
it was totally the RPG of the year.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
got to be by
Yeah,
far the
fuck
greatest
every other
RPG.
game that was listed. You know,
I genuinely did vote for it because I think it would
That's
be
crazy.
so fucking funny if it wins.
that would be very
Yeah.
funny.
Oh,
I'm not
the
gonna lie.
outrage.
Yeah,
Oh,
people would be
from all
pissed.
these
The outrage would be insane.
People would be pissed. That would be fun. Yeah, that would be
The
great.
fact that it got nominated is ridiculous anyway.
Yeah.
But it's good that Alan Wake got some nominations.
No, I love. Yeah, no, there was a couple. Hi-Fi Rush, I was glad to see on there.
Remnant
Remnant 2.
Yeah.
So I played a little bit of Remnant 2 before, but didn't get much into it. But we started playing Remnant 2 last night. Holy shit, that
Mhm.
game is amazing,
Dark Souls
dude.
Guns.
It's so fucking good. I love it so much. So we're gonna continue playing on that, I'm sure. So that we, I don't think we voted
you
Remnant,
can
but
do 3-player like
Co-op.
parties.
Yeah.
And
That's
yeah,
pretty
which is
dope.
pretty dope.
I think Baldur's Gate 3 is going to win Game of the Year. I think for me, I still stand by. It's a niche game in my opinion, even though it seems to have gotten pretty mainstream. You have to really like the tactical RPG aspect, but I think what really appeals to the masses is the sex. I think a lot of people just play the game for the fucking.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, that's the reason that I played it. I re-downloaded it and I played it to get the hot demon mommy. It is what it is. You got to do what you got to do. And so yeah, I respect it, but I don't necessarily think it should get Game of the Year. I don't think Baldur's Gate, in my personal opinion, should be Game of the Year, but I really do think the sex is what propelled it. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I remember the first thing I heard about Baldur's Gate 3 was the sex. It was like basically an Asmongold video where he was talking about, oh my god, guys, did you see the sex scenes in this thing? It was like, and so I remember there was a thing saying you could have sex with a bear or some weird shit. Like there was a bunch of really weird rumors.
What did you vote for Game of the Year, Peter?
I think I voted for Alan Wake 2.
Base, it's a great game.
It should have been. I mean, Phantom Liberty should have gotten a nomination. I feel like, but it is.
Oh yeah, that was on the continuation.
At least it got best
narrative.
narrative.
Expansion that they probably that's the only.
Oh yeah, I think Alan Wake 2 is what we voted best narrative.
I got annoyed because Witcher 3 expansions got nominated for awards, but then this one only got best narrative. But it is what it is. I also think Idris Elba's performance was like
well, I don't know why they
put
him on there. Yeah, I don't know why they put him on there, bro.
Would probably
that was
be
crazy.
my choice.
No, I don't know why. Monahan is so fucking good. I love Cal Kestis' character. So good. I've heard that people say the Final Fantasy guy though apparently did like a really amazing emotional scene, I guess, in Final Fantasy. So shout out that guy. But yeah,
I think it's actually just political because I mean, Jason, you played a bit of the start of Phantom Liberty, right?
Yeah.
The Asian actress for Songbird, I feel like she was better than Idris Elba in that game.
Yeah, I feel like Idris Elba just has the name, and that's the reason why I think he's probably going to win it.
Yeah, it's a popularity contest, but that's how it is for all award shows. It's always just a popularity.
Because even the female lead in Alan Wake 2, I thought.
Oh yeah, she's very good. Yeah, I like her.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, very attractive.
But Super Mario Wonder, it's good that game got some love. It's one of my favorite games of the year. But
yeah, the fact Sonic got put up there is so funny to me.
The best multiplayer category was just like crazy. It was like Super Mario Wonder and all these like co-op games.
Oh yeah, I do. That was
why
insane.
Are these best multiplayer?
Yeah, I didn't. There was I think CS2 got up there for something. I remember I voted for that.
CS2's best esports game.
Yeah. Oh, okay. I think I might have picked that. But yeah, generally like most of it was pretty. I mean, I understood a lot of the nominations. A lot of the games that I wanted to see on there were
best
on there.
art direction. I think that was a tough one.
Audio direction's definitely Hi-Fi Rush.
Yeah.
Audio mixing and all that is Hi-Fi Rush. I don't know what
Super Mario Wonder would be my vote for best art direction.
I can't remember what they had for art
with
direction.
That game was absolutely. It felt like I was playing Mario for the first time again. It was really good.
No, I don't disagree. I can't remember all the things they had for art direction. They had some good
was
stuff.
one of the games for art direction.
Okay.
I thought Baldur's Gate was another one. Final Fantasy might have been on there as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think like you can. I think there's an argument for narrative when it comes to Baldur's Gate or RPG. But yeah, I think it probably will win Game of the Year again. But generally speaking, I'm hoping we don't see a sweep of Baldur's Gate.
Hogwarts Legacy didn't get nominated.
Thank God, right?
I love that game.
Listen, it's a good game. It's a very good game. I don't think it's like it's better than any of the games that they chose
for the Game of the Year.
Yeah. I don't think it's better than any of those.
No, Spider-Man 2. I had loved.
Oh yeah, that was on Best Narrative too, right? Yeah.
I think I said on Twitter.
Really, yeah. And we got dude, and they didn't put on the Kong Skull Island, dude. Like that's the thing that got really gypped. And Gollum, like those are two of the best games that we got this year, and they did not put them on. Like that's ballsy, you know.
What were you saying, Peter?
I think I was saying like, I've seen so many people say Hogwarts Legacy should have been nominated. It sold 15 million units. It was so popular, blah, blah, blah. I haven't seen a single tweet where someone said, like, this is a part of the game that was good. I've just seen people saying, like, Harry Potter's a big franchise and Hogwarts Legacy sold so much.
It sold a lot,
but, like, No one's saying the story is better than like
No,
Alan
the
Wake
story's
2
not
or-
actually
No, the
pretty
story's
mid.
pretty
Yeah.
bad. Yeah, not bad, but it's mid because it doesn't really,
Yeah.
it doesn't crescendo.
very
It doesn't go
boring,
anywhere.
through
It's
a
very
lot of it.
one tone. It's very monotone.
It's cool. Like the only thing that's really
Going
like,
around
amazing about
Hogwarts is dope.
Yeah, and then being
Yeah.
able to
To fly
collect all
around,
the animals,
To
and
fly
then do all
around.
that,
They,
like, your
they built a
sanctum
good,
build, yeah.
like the map is a good size.
The
and
second game, I have high hopes that it's gonna be like.
I want them to. I'm gonna be real. I would play an
You got
MMORPG
everything
of
built
that.
now. You
I would
just
do
have
that.
to advance.
I would love
Mhm.
to see him in MMO
Oh
in
yeah, like
MMORPG of that.
Hogwarts Legacy 2,
Yes.
like
Where you go around, you can play with your friends, you can go clear out caverns, you can go dungeon
go in
doing
the
it.
forest.
Yeah, like
have
that
the
would be
mod on with the spiders.
Yeah, get
That would be so
arachnophobia
sick.
mob. Dude, that would be like, and then you can go into town and people are like building stuff, and you have maybe your farmers and your bakers and your potion creators, and people can open up shops.
Somebody creates
Like,
a
that would be
potion
so
for,
fucking cool.
Some deadly virus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure. Oh, dude, somebody starts poisoning the town and people don't know. Dude,
Yeah.
there'd be so much cool role play that you could do with that. Dude, somebody summons a troll, like they bring a troll into town. Dude, there's so much cool shit that you could do with that. And they started that too. Like in the game, they literally give you one of the shops.
Yeah.
And they're like, here, you can take care of it. So like, I wish
No,
that they would
I feel like they
open that up.
built the base and it's very sound. And
Yeah,
I feel like
they
the
need to
next game-
expand on it. Yeah.
They did that with Uncharted. Like
Sure.
the second Uncharted game was way better than the first.
Yeah,
one.
I need them to do Hogwarts
yeah.
and then Hogwarts Online. That's what we need.
Horizon Zero Dawn's the only one that I feel like the first one is better than the second one.
Sure.
Like it's one of those
sure.
games that I
It
was
didn't expand on it.
like, no,
yeah.
the second one I just didn't enjoy as much.
Yeah,
But
for
yeah.
sure.
Well,
Okay.
all of those studios are working on other games.
Yeah.
The controversial stuff, I saw like Dave the Diver.
I like Day of the Diver.
Was
It's
nominated
not
for
amazing, but it's good.
Best indie game, but the company that published it was Nexon, which has
Oh, really?
7,000 employees.
I didn't realize that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that. Well, I love
Um,
Dredge. Dredge was very good. We voted for
was-
Dredge.
Yes.
Dredge is amazing. We love that
There's
game.
a lot of good indie games.
There are. There was that one category where it had like Sea of Stars and whatnot. We
Cocoon as
didn't
well,
really.
Sea of Stars. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of those games in there, like Cocoon and whatnot, that we didn't really play. We have Cocoon downloaded, for example, but
Cocoon was
uh,
pretty good.
yeah, we haven't played it, but we have it downloaded. There's a couple games like that. There was that one game that was like an Indian cooking game or something like that. That was pretty interesting. Like I love the variety at least that was on display in this.
Heard of the
indie game and
Viewfinder,
everything.
which was like the
I
one
don't
you take
know what
photos and then
Viewfinder
it
is.
changes the map.
Oh, okay,
It was
I
like a
know
puzzle game, but like a 3D space one. Like you take
Oh,
a
that's
photo
interesting.
of a tower and then it would.
There was also
pull
that
down and stuff.
Humanity game where it's in VR or whatever, where you have all the people that are
Yeah.
following. That was interesting.
Humanity's by the creator of Assassin's Creed as well. But
Really?
I feel like that's
Yeah,
think so.
PlayStation gave it away. I think for it's either. on
That's pretty dope.
PlayStation
We
Plus or
yeah, we're
Plus.
looking at. We're gonna try to get a PlayStation VR, so we can try to experience some of these things. So we'll have to report in when we do. Okay. Was there any?
yeah. Well,
last things?
maybe we'll cover that stuff when it happens in like 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See what
That'd be
actually
awesome.
wins.
Dude, we're
Yeah.
2 hours and 20 minutes deep. Okay. It's been a long one, guys. So thank you for joining us during this episode of the Tripodcast. If there's anything else that you want to talk about, review, discuss, let us know in the comments down below. You can follow Peter. His links are down in the description. You can follow Jason. You can follow me. All of our links are down below. And besides that, guys, we'll see you all in the next Tripod.
Abducted by my brain and it drains all the dopamine. Pain leaving nothing but the dreams that have been holding me. Reality cracks and it falls at the openings. Blasted out center just to see all the broken dreams. Trapped in a track to be feeling like an acid dream. Feeling like I'm floor keeper casting me snitch on reality glitches. Retaliate wish. Turn the mountain upside down to a